What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Night Geeks, y'all. And I am joined by some of the best creators in the world. But I want to introduce you to our amazing guest, Gump. Gump from Gump's videos on YouTube, guys. He's a filmmaker. He's a writer. Gump, we are honored to have you today, man. What's going on? How you feeling today, my friend?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that kind introduction. It's very nice of you. I'm glad to be on the show with you today. I know you were on my podcast several times, and I've been looking forward to this moment for so long. Thank you for having me, my friend. I'm doing good.
Bro, it is a pleasure to have you, man. It's been great talking with you on your podcast. We have such great energy together, man. I'm so glad to bring you on. And I'm ready to talk some movies, man. I'm ready to talk some movies. And guys, there was one bullet I didn't add, but we got to get to PS5 as well. But I'm here with my usual co-host as well. What's going on, Chris? How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Leo. How's it going? How's it going, Kyle? How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm good.
Why are you saying it like that?
Oh, man, I'm doing good, my friend. And Amanda, how are you?
I'm doing great. I got too much sun today, and I'm feeling loopy, but I'm feeling good to be here with you guys.
Sunburnt again?
Yes, actually.
Yo, I got
my
stuff
God.
too. Yo,
And I was like,
Bro
and-
says.
I know, and I was drinking, so it's not like I actually thought.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Of course, I was drinking. Hello. Like, it's summer. Like,
Well, we got a couple viewers that have already joined. Welcome, you guys. We're going to be talking about the latest in movies and geek tonight. We've got a lot on the plate. So you know what? We're just going to go ahead and dive in and start with the Five Bloods, guys. I came out on Netflix this past Friday. I stayed up till 1 o'clock. Well, let me back up. I took a quick nap, like an hour and a half, got back up, forced myself to get back up to watch this movie. And oh my God, that was probably the best decision I made all year. I absolutely love this movie top to bottom. It is, man, I gotta say, it might be Spike's best film of the 2000s and the 2010s. I mean, I really enjoyed it. At first, I liked Black Klansman a little bit more, but the more I think about it, I like this movie more than Black Klansman. And I love every little element about this movie. But I think the biggest treat for me was that transition between the present and the past and how smoothly Spike transitioned film ratios like that. And he introduced this grainy look that's so reminiscent of Apocalypse Now. So it was a really big treat visually. The acting cast was amazing. This was Delroy Lindo's one of his best. Give that man an Oscar right now. Paul was an amazing character with so many different layers hidden underneath, and you just find them out every single phase of the movie. You just learn more and more and more about this character, and I loved him. I loved the whole group dynamic. I loved the Five Bloods. And Spike Lee just knows how to give you an amazing slice of Black history that's not really discussed heavily in school, because you get that lesson on the Vietnam War, but you don't get the Black veteran version of that. And Spike Lee did such an amazing job portraying that movie. And I love this movie top to bottom. The music is great, like using What's Going On, Marvin Gaye's album, one of his best. Man, it's timeless, and it relates to what's going on today. But I'm not going to keep on yakking on about it. I absolutely loved it. Favorite film of the year. I'm going to start with you, Amanda, because I know you really enjoyed it probably as much as me. Let me know your thoughts about the Five Bloods. What did you think?
that film is probably the best film of the year. I still kind of liked Black Klansman a bit more because the Five Bloods really just had it was darker. There was so much depth to it. You got to see the PTSD firsthand, and I thought that was done extremely well. I find that directors kind of just show these soldiers in the trenches more often than dealing with PTSD, and to be able to see that with Delroy Lindo's portrayal of Paul was really freaking important. It was effective, eye-opening, and the beauty of like Spike Lee films is that he does not shy away from any of the brutality that Black people face in in any of the years that he's made his films. So it's a history lesson. Every single film that he's made is a history lesson, and this one was probably the most impactful history lesson that he has given out of his entire filmography. So, like I said to you, Leo, the other day, it felt like Spike Lee's version of The Irishman, where he took everything from his filmography that he's learned, that he's used, like the themes and the relevancy and all of that, and he put it together. He incorporated so many things that he's known for, like camera work, music choices, archival footage, stock photo, like everything that still photos, like he incorporated everything. And he tied everything to what's happening today. It's kind of uncanny how Defy Bloods even came out on Netflix, during everything that's been happening. It's kind of like it needed to drop when it did. And I loved it. I love the fact that they used the same actors in the flashbacks. I think that was a bold artistic choice that hasn't been done before, but since they had to, sorry?
I said I like that too. I was going to mention it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
good.
like rambling. No, but if feel free to like jump in. Like I didn't mean, I'm just rambling. I thought it was a really bold artistic choice because they were going back to Vietnam. So it's kind of like their memories of the war was in the present with them going back, if that makes any sense. So I thought that was really powerful, and it hasn't been done. You always see the young actors as their counterpart, and it was just made such a freaking impact on me. I loved it so much. But yeah, this is gonna get all the awards, hopefully. So yeah, that's what I thought of it. I loved it. That was great. BlacKkKlansman's still like one of my favorites because it was a bit more. There was more humor, I think, for me, and I loved it, and it was it was dark humor, so I liked it.
Give Delroy Lindo the Oscar right now.
I will deliver
right
it.
now.
I will deliver it myself.
Hand delivered by Amanda.
Yeah, here you go, bro. Like, there you go. You deserve it.
He definitely deserved it. I mean, that was an outstanding performance, and that scene where he talks to the camera and just explains what's going on in his mind it's just so powerful and shocking. Like that movie shook me. I don't know if you guys watched my review, but when I reviewed this movie, I was honestly shocked. I reviewed it right after I got done, about 3:00 in the morning, and it was so hard for me to articulate it because I was shocked with what I had just saw. Chris, what are your thoughts on the Five Bloods, man? Let me know.
You guys pretty much said a lot so that I was already going to say, so I'll reiterate. Yeah. So as far as my first, I'll be honest, I went into it and it was a slow burn at first, right? I didn't find the transitions to the flashbacks all that smooth at first, because at first I thought I wasn't sure if they were playing it up for satire or if it was to set up something. So as the film kind of it layers itself out, I started to like understand, and like I like Amanda appreciated that artistic like spin on having them be those characters, their younger selves. That was really cool. That separates yourself from the pack. Yeah, there was moments in this film, and I'm a historian myself, and my father was in Vietnam. Tail end of it. I'm not that old. So I remember, hearing stories and it was. You're right, Leo. I when I was telling you, I don't know how to really put it into words. There was moments where it was just pure like raw emotion. Like these actors did a fantastic job. Spike takes something that happened to Black people in a specific genre in a specific time, and he tells a story in it. And, he tells a story inside that gives you perspective into what the world was like, what things were like, what things were really like, and then gives you a story, gives you characters to go along that journey with you that you care about, because that's good filmmaking, that's good storytelling. Black Klansman was good, but I think this has to be up there with like his top 5 films in my opinion.
Mhm.
There, like the whole father-son thing. At first, I didn't know if I liked the son. I didn't know if he understood, and so like I said, there's slow burns to this film, and the when I was watching it, Leo, I would go, "Oh, Spike Lee shot," and I would make a note of it, like, "Oh, that's underneath and wide up," and you can appreciate his style is still there. So I think you're right. It dropped at a really good time, Amanda.
Mhm.
So yeah, to not get too far into it. I wish that maybe the music could have been a little bit more memorable. In my opinion, I think it wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. Cinematography was good. Leo, I do have something of a question to ask you guys, though.
Go for it.
The character that can't think of his name. The flashback shoot.
Storm and Norman.
No, Storm and
Yeah,
Norman.
Storm and Norman.
Yeah.
Do you, do you got a sense that those flashbacks were glorifying him a little bit on purpose?
What do you mean?
I thought there was an underlying message to it as well. Like, you know how sometimes when you remember things, they're not exactly the way you want to remember them, and some things are good, but you remember them a lot greater than what they really are because you're holding on to something still. And it just seemed like Storm and Norman was just unsoldier like, standing up, running around, shooting. Like, that is not active. That is not accurate portrayal of military service. So was it him remembering it differently?
Well,
When
you
we're
gotta
watching
you
this?
gotta kind of look at these guys and know, Chris, they're fighting a war on 2 fronts. So they're fighting a war back home because obviously the racist white people hated them, and then they're fighting the war in Vietnam, and there are a ton of black soldiers that fought in Vietnam. 32% actually were black, and there was only an 11% black population at the time. So that is a lot of black soldiers. I think the fact that he wasn't as, I guess, tight and coordinated as you're used to. I think that was a brilliant style of storytelling, if you ask me, because I think there are so many unexpected things that could happen to you in a war that may cause you to have to make moves like that. For me, I wasn't really in it looking at the tactics and the war and how tight they were as a crew. I was more in it for the relationship between the 5 of them. And I don't think the flashbacks were necessarily glorifying Storm and Norman. I think that he was such a powerful character that they all remembered him so incredibly vividly. And that's pictured, I think, pretty vividly in the fist that he puts in the camera with that legendary Spike shot of looking up with the wide. I think that symbolized just how powerful of an influence he had on these men. And I think that was also some of the messages with the not changing the actors in the flashbacks. And I think that they have problems that were going on back then that still happen now. So I don't really think they were glorifying Storm and Norman per se.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you make great points, Leo, but I'm not necessarily, just to be clear, I'm not saying that Storm and Norman wasn't a badass or that he doesn't deserve his glory at all. I just thought that maybe there was some underlining subtext to a psychological thing that was going on with just, for me, I wasn't really paying attention to it. It's like, oh, that's not accurate. Not to diss it. No, I was thinking that there was something there that maybe there wasn't. I was just creating it. But for me, I thought these flashbacks were just, something was different with them. And maybe I'm not picking up on the right thing, but I just want to see if anybody else agrees with me that these flashbacks, there was
Well,
I just felt like there was something that he was trying to tell us with them
I
more than
see.
what was going on. More than what was
see.
going on. That's
There
all
was
I'm saying.
one. I don't want to like spoil it, but there is a scene where Paul, you see what actually happened for Storm and Norman's death. You
Mhm.
saw what happened, and I
Mhm.
kind of understand where you're coming from, Chris. Where it depends on the way you look at certain situations, because when that was revealed to us, I highly doubt the rest of them knew what had happened.
I'll
Right.
admit though,
You know what
I
I'm
knew
saying?
that's what it was building up to, because I was like, he is so much more ramped up about Storm and Norman than everybody else.
Yeah.
He had this like energy about him that just was so, guilty. And I could tell, like, whenever they brought up Storm and Norman, or whenever they talked about him, there was this like hint of uncomfortability that he portrayed so much. And I was just like, did he kill him? And I'm
Dude, I
sorry
was
to drop
on to that
but
too, Leo.
yeah, I had kind of,
And that's
I have
what
kind of known that in the beginning of the movie, but I think Spike just so like expertly like portrays
guilt.
that. But
He was
but
portraying
before,
his guilt. He was overdoing his guilt with his honor of honoring him even more.
for
He was
sure,
badass.
I do
And
want to
he-
get to
'cause he
Gump real
felt-
quick though, Chris. I'm sorry to
I'm
cut
so
you
sorry.
off.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Let me get to Gump as well. Gump, what are your thoughts on this movie, my friend? What did you think?
Yeah, no, I was listening because I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
Gump.
Listen, okay, I have my reasons. Okay, so long story short, I was gonna watch it today when you told me, right. And then my friends came to me for a surprise fiction trip. I was gonna watch it today. I rewatched the trailer so I can get caught up on it. But I will say this though, I am really excited to watch this movie, if it's a slow burn or not, because watching Black Klansman literally like last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm already hungry for more of Spike Lee's style. I love his style when he takes like historical pieces, builds like this very unique style to it, and like puts a lesson on top of it, so you really see the lesson that much more clear. Because when you add style to something, usually it's more of a popcorn fun movie, and when the life lesson hits, it sticks because it comes out of left corner. With Black Clans, I'm not saying that it came out of left corner, but just the style wise in general, like it made that really clear to me. And so I'm really excited to see more history from Senior Black Klansman director Spike Lee. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it after this podcast, and I'm probably gonna do a quick review, and I'm gonna watch all this stuff. Spoilers don't usually bother me, especially with a guy who's got a lot of style and finesse like Spike Lee. So I don't know. I have nothing much to say, so that's why I'm just chilling out listening. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, but I appreciate that. And yeah, definitely check this out, man. It is, in my opinion, the best film of the year. I got to disagree with you on the music part, Chris. What's Going On is a phenomenal album. And using it in that scene, using only the a cappella version.
I like that. Okay, I do, but I'm just
ordinary.
I had to find something. All right.
I know, but come on, you got to find the music. What's going on?
Okay,
By
no, I
Marvin
took
Gaye?
Oh my
I
god,
took a
I
low
love it.
blow. But seriously, guys, go back and look at that movie if you can, and go watch those flashbacks again, knowing that we know now. See if he was just. I don't know, man. I really do in my heart. I feel like Spike was telling us something.
I think so too. I mean, this film demands like a second
I
and
felt
third
it, and it
watch.
made me pay attention more.
Yeah, I also think that this is a film that hopefully will be in film school curriculums to study.
Dude, you gotta study Spike. If you're not studying Spike in film school, you're
I
doing it wrong.
didn't.
Quit.
I didn't.
Quit now.
I was in cinema media studies, dude. Like my BA, like I had
Not
no
you. I
idea-
just mean
No,
anybody.
I'm saying for myself, it's the fact that like I went through the program and I never studied a Spike Lee film. That
Wow.
pissed me off because it's like it is bad. We were stuck with French New Wave, whatever. I'm like, that was fun. No, they had good movies. I'm just saying, like, of all people, like we should have been studying Spike as well. And like, you can literally dissect every single film, man. And I think that's beautiful about his work. He should be so proud of himself and what he brings to the table.
No wasted opportunities, no wasted shots, no wasted character development.
Nope. It's
Yeah.
all relevant.
I can't name one film where there's a throwaway character.
So, Chris, let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
When it came to the flashbacks, what do you think he was trying to portray? Because I definitely think he had a message to tell, and I have what I interpreted it to be. Do you have any thoughts on what you think it would be? It is the flashbacks are trying to interpret, because I definitely think they symbolize something, but I want to hear what you think.
Well, you're right, Leo. They symbolize the era when they went to 35 millimeter. It was a freaking awesome touch. Awesome touch to have the characters still fighting their war. So the characters are themselves in present day because they're still fighting their war. That's freaking phenomenal. But as the performance of, I'm going to keep calling him T'Challa, but I know it's not. Chadwick Boseman's character, as he appeared more in the music, there's parts where it gets really triumphant. And I know that it's, what's his name, telling the story. And I can sense that there's something there from the beginning. There's more to this Norman in this character. I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry. So as it got to what we knew the conclusion was, I felt like for some reason, like I've done that before. I've glorified something that I'm ashamed of almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say it was specifically something important. It might have been not something stupid, but I felt an emotion that I'm like, is this what I'm trying? I don't know. I felt an emotion. It sounds supernatural, but I felt something like I've been there. I could feel with this guy's for some reason. No, I haven't been through war or anything like that, but I felt it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a tough movie to watch, especially when I'm gonna just say this, when the bomb goes off. And after that, I think the movie just kind of elevates itself like to a different level. So I think that flashbacks match.
But even the thing that floored me, the thing that gave me anxiety to the maximum was they were trying to navigate through this forest, and then oh my god, I want to ruin it, but like the landmines, the anxiety, because my dad's the one that picked it up. Like, he's the one that told me, because he's like, he knows all about it. Like, he's studied it. He's a big like history buff. So he said it. He's like, oh, imagine that this happened. And I'm like, why would you tell me that? And then that entire sequence, I was anxiety ridden. And Spike did it so freaking well. Like, it was just crazy. I literally had to stand up while they were navigating through the forest. I couldn't sit still. I was so nervous. That was another thing that just blew my mind. That entire sequence was incredible.
I agree. God, this movie in general was incredible on so many different levels, and it illustrates that the Black struggle from the Vietnam War still happens today. And I love what they do with the end, tying it back to present day. Like, Spike does that so incredibly well in just about every movie. I mean, he's got a couple of more casual ones, like more Beta Blues and a couple other movies, but he does that so powerfully in his movies, and it kind of does slap you in the face a little bit. But I think that we need to be uncomfortable.
It freaking does.
Yeah, man. But you got to be uncomfortable. You got to be willing and uncomfortable to learn this history. Yes, so I love it. I love how jarring and uncomforting it is, because this is just the reality that everybody needs to know. But I'm going to go around and ask you guys, what are you giving it out of 10? Because I am a hard 9 out of 10. I love this movie. I will say the first act wasn't as strong as the second and third act. While I did really enjoy that first act, still, it wasn't nearly as strong as those second two. And I would say that may be the only real criticism I have here. But I know they got to, develop characters in the first act. And I would much rather a movie start with a strong first act and a huge and great second and third than vice versa. But that's might be the only negative criticism I have here. very much enjoyed this movie. I'm trying to find things that I didn't like about it, and I'm very hard pressed to find them. I mean, I really like this movie top to bottom. The look, the acting, the music, the score, the cinematography was incredible. That scene with Paul talking to the camera where it tilted up and went to the black fist. I was like, this is incredible. It's powerful. It's emotional. It's shocking. And it's one of Spike Lee's best. And I agree with a lot of critics that have used this word. It's vital. It's a vital Spike Lee watch. Amanda, out of 10, what are you giving the Five Bloods?
I'm also giving it a 9 out of 10. For everything you just said. I also think that the first act was it was a slower build up. It kind of had to find its footing.
Yeah.
But like I said in my review, I said that you have to fall in love with these characters, which we did at the beginning. They were dancing. They all met up with each other, and like the boys are back in town.
Oh, that shot in the club when they're dancing.
Oh my God, so good.
So cute.
That was so cool.
I loved it. And then in the second act, everything kind of gets to a boiling point, and you see what's eating at them on the inside. And I think, again, like Spike does that with all of his films. And then in the third act, it's like it just slaps you across the face. And I think every single third act from Spike Lee does that. Because honestly, marathoning his films leading up to The Five Bloods really just freaking blew my mind, because I picked up on so many things. And that's what I wrote in my review, was the fact that everything kind of like gets turned on its head in the third act. So I do agree with you, Leo. And I do give it a 9 out of 10 because it's really hard to say one bad thing about it. I just wish the first act was stronger. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I can agree there. What's going on? Pert Mindy says, salute, my friend. Let us know your thoughts about The Five Bloods. I know you checked it out, and I checked out your review. Let us know your thoughts, my friend. But Amanda, I agree with everything you said. There was a part in the first act where I was kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? And then where when they're in the field, the minefield, what happens? And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I did not see that coming. And I gotta say, like, as soon as that happened, I was thrown right back into the movie. It's not like I was taken out at all, but once they, found the gold, I was kind of like, all right, where do we go from here? Like, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna what's gonna happen with these characters? Are they gonna fight with each other over the gold? What's gonna happen? And just for what happened, I was, oh my God, like blown away. I cried when that happened, because I admit, in the first act, they got me very attached to Five Bloods. Seeing them get together really reminded me of a family reunion. Like, it's like, seeing my older Black cousins and my older Black relatives and hugging them and kissing them. And, I got really attached to the Five Bloods. Like, I was like, oh my God, these guys are like a brotherhood. They're like, they reminded me of my uncles. And I have a lot of uncles. I've got 5 uncles. So they reminded me so much of my family. And I got so very attached to them that when what happens, I was like, oh my God. I was like near sobbing. But Chris, what are you giving this movie out of 10, man?
A 9 out of 10 is a very high rating in my book. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Fair.
Just for a little bit of pacing issues. That's it. That's the only negative I can really take from it.
That's fair.
Damn it, Spike. Did you have to do that?
Right?
You had our attention, bro. Like
we knew that you were great, man. But
that is just, but the filmmaker in me, I'll dare to say artist in me, loves it. It's horrible, gut wrenching, but sucker punch to the face, but bravo.
Yep.
Yeah, kudos. This was great. And Gump, my man, check this out right after the cast, man. It is an amazing movie. I mean, I can't talk enough about it, how good it is. I still gotta say, though, my favorite film is still Do the Right Thing by Spike. But you guys know that there's some sentimental value there.
You're right. No, I agree with you. No, I'm saying, you're right. It's so good. Okay, then let's question this. Top 3 Spike Lee films.
Do the Right Thing. Black Klansman and this.
Yeah, same. Literally same.
I mean, gosh, I gotta say, I really do like She's Gotta Have It though. Just for the fact that we see so many of Spike's first shots and seeing them all established like that, and just kind of turning the stereotype of men having multiple partners on its head. I really, really like that. What a daring move for a directorial debut right after his student film. So I thought that was fantastic. I mean, I want to throw it in my top 3, but the 3 I named were just phenomenal, and they were Spike later on after having done a couple of movies. And man, another good one is Crooklyn. I mean, it's a little hard for me. Like a lot of his movies are just amazing. Bamboozled, More Better Blues. A lot of people don't like More Better Blues because it's not really that political. But I do like that Spike can kind of lean back sometimes and just kind of tell a fun story. Gosh, there's so many Spike Lee movies that I adore. But Chris, what's your top 3?
Oh man, I was thinking about it. I have a soft spot for one of his films that most people probably don't like. I really like Inside Man.
Nice.
For some reason, I love that because he mixed some Bollywood stuff into it. And he does some. It's an underrated movie. He has some really great shots. He does a lot with minimal characters and minimal locations, and tells an interesting story. It's definitely not a normal Spike Lee movie, but I just remember sitting in a movie theater when the opening credits came on. I was like, "Oh, this song sucks. This song is awesome!" Like, I don't know what it is, but it was cool. It got me in. I would have to say Black Klansman's up there too.
Hell yeah!
With the way that this movie ended, this one has to be up there too. I would have loved a little bit more in the slow spots. But I think if you didn't have he didn't have your attention in the second act, he sure as hell got it.
Big
Damn right.
So yeah, I'm gonna go back and rewatch that one. Definitely.
I gotta say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to disagree with you personally. Inside Man is kind of where Spike Lee started to like slowly dip for me, and not that it was like I started not liking his films or anything. Don't get me wrong, I love every single Spike Lee movie I've seen. There's probably only a couple I haven't seen, but that's kind of because like my favorite Spike era is definitely that Crooklyn, Jungle Fever, Do the Right Thing, He Got Game, like, the late 80s to late 90s, definitive Spike Lee for me. And I think that Black Klansman was a real return to that. And I think that we are going to start seeing more Spike Lee movies giving us those lessons again and putting us in a positive environment in that first act and just really giving us those hard lessons in the second and third act. Gump, what do you think? What are your top Spike Lee films? I know you've seen Black Klansman. Are there any others that you've seen?
Like I said, I was not blessed with the childhood of a filmmaker. So no, unfortunately, I did not. It's going to be one of those things where I'm still running that marathon of just trying to catch up. It's genuinely exhausting just trying to catch up. So I can't really absorb half the movies I'm watching and just sit there and like really appreciate it because I'm like, okay, that's done. I've seen it. To the next one and just start running. So I wanted with Spike Lee, especially because he's got such a unique style. I want to watch all his films, but at least give myself some time to sit on it and absorb it. So it's probably gonna be a while because I didn't know he was a filmmaker back in the 80s. How many movies does this man have under his belt?
Ooh, I want to say around 40.
40.
He's got a lot of movies, man.
Yeah, he has a lot.
But I would say some that you definitely got to watch are Do the Right Thing for sure. You already watched Black Klansman. I will watch Crooklyn. I will watch
Malcolm X.
She's Gotta Have It. Malcolm X for sure.
Yeah.
Mo Better Blues is pretty good. I would recommend that one because Spike kind of takes a break from the political stuff in that one. And I think that it's a nice, he does have little messages here and there, but I think that it's a nice kind of brief break from the political messages that he puts in his movies. and there are a couple more, but man, I'll
Inside
hook you
Man.
up with a list.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry,
definitely
Chris.
gotta
I'm not gonna recommend that he sees Inside Man first. I'm sorry.
I'll watch it, Chris. I'll watch it. Don't worry.
Oh, Mando,
But yeah,
watch
dude,
it.
like I'm definitely gonna probably watch more Spike
It's
Lee
just a
movies because I'm
fun
definitely
movie,
craving the Spike Lee
okay?
movies right now.
Have fun with it, all right?
No, I understand. I did too, man. But like I said, that's kind of where I was like, look, I love Spike Lee. I still do.
like me
I
some
love that
Denzel
movie. I like
Washington.
Inside Man, but like he was going down this like neo-noir thriller hole, and it wasn't like a bad thing, but I really like his style, and it kind of started deviating from his style there for me. But I do like that movie a lot. Don't get me wrong. I do like it.
It's
He does still
Denzel.
use Dutch angles in that movie, which is
It's
I'm just
Denzel.
like,
and he's
man,
got the
that is
Steadicam.
definitive for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
It's Denzel.
What's that? What?
It's
What, man?
Denzel. It's Denzel. Okay.
All right. Yeah. You know what? You're right. You're right. Denzel, the man. He the fucking man.
He is.
All right, guys. Let's move on to our next topic. Tons of movie delays. Like, oh my God. Wonder Woman 84 has been delayed to October 2nd, 2020. The Matrix 4 has been delayed to April 1st, 2022. That's a whole year out from when it was
Good,
planned
because
to come
nobody
out.
wanted that in the first place.
Good.
Yeah.
Exactly. No one wanted that. So.
Excuse me? All right, hold on. I'm going to keep on going.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Hold
That's
on.
not good.
Guys, I'm
Oh,
going to keep
no.
on going real quick.
We've awakened the Kraken.
Godzilla vs. Kong has been delayed and is now coming out May 21st, 2021. Robert Zemeckis' remake of The Witches has been delayed. I wasn't really looking forward to that. The live action CGI hybrid of Tom and Jerry has also been
I'm ready. I can't wait to watch that.
I am not looking forward to that at all. But a
Oh my
lot of
God.
movies have been delayed, guys, and they are actually showing like a lot of classic films. I know they showed Jurassic Park last night at a couple of movie theaters. Shout out Zach Pope, who is a content creator I very much follow and watched Jurassic Park last night. I'm not ready for the theater personally, but do you think these delays could be sending a possible message? Who do I want to start with? I'm going to start with you, Chris.
Damn
do you
it.
think it's a good thing that
I'm so
you were gonna
sorry.
say
That was like
something.
a real knee-jerk
plead the
reaction.
fifth.
I forgot where I was.
I'm gonna start with you, my man. What do you think about these movie delays? Do you think it's a good idea? And let me ask you, when would be the earliest you would go back to the movie theater?
The theater.
It's
Well,
The
since
theater.
the last
My
time I was
monocle.
at the theater,
Oh my God, what a geek!
you know what, dude? Listen,
I'm listening.
the COVID. I don't want to get into like a whole thing. I have mixed feelings about it. I'm comfortable going to the movie theaters as soon as the rates of people getting COVID-19 goes down. Sure. I have a family, so I'm paranoid more than I should because of it. I really want to see Tenet. There's these delays, double-edged sword. Personally, I know they got to make money. Personally, I say delay it. Public safety is more important than making some money. And if the theaters are crying poor, well, you know what? Quite frankly, you had opportunities to not put yourself in this position in the first place. You ignored it. So shame on you. A little bit is your fault. Same with the studios. You don't need to make $1 billion blockbusters every gosh darn 6 months, and then cry poor when shit's fan. A little bit of me says good riddance. Stir up the pot with the industry. I don't care. Let it all burn. As far as I'm
Oh my
concerned.
God, man, this much?
But then there's a part of me that loves going to the movie
shit.
theaters, and I want my daughter to have the movie going experience. So, but don't rush it. Those movies I'm not looking forward to seeing other than Tenet and Wonder Woman 84 maybe in the theater. So to be honest with you, I'm slowly going away from the movie going experience. I'm hoping that they do more on demand stuff. That's my thoughts, Leo.
we got a comment from Diego. What's going on, my friend? I don't know how to pronounce your last name, my friend, but I think it's Pisfil. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And he says the Five Blood is the real Bad Boys for Life. Wow. What a comment. Tenet is the real Hobbs and Shaw. When Tenet comes to theaters, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to hazmat suit up and go. But Tenet did get delayed to July 31st.
2 weeks.
I'm sure that's
big whoop.
big
2
delay.
weeks.
It should have been delayed to like November, but
What
we
are they
know
gonna
Christopher
do?
Nolan has been pushing so hard. But
So
Gump,
annoying. Sorry.
what do you think about these delays, my friend?
Well, I definitely think it's absolutely essential that they do this for both fronts. One, public safety. That is number one for sure, because people are not treating this seriously. The people are like, oh, numbers are going down, so they just rushed out to restaurants. And now the numbers are going back up. I think the movie theaters, I understand that they're hurting, but like Chris said, it doesn't help when you're spending like you got some directors that are requesting $300 million to make a movie. I mean, like, come on, what are you doing? What do you need $300 million for? Like, I can't comprehend that. So that doesn't help. So that's why ticket prices are going up, and that's why that's a whole spiel, whatever. But that aside, like public safety aside too, Tenet needs to make a lot of money because it's Christopher Nolan's most expensive movie, at least since The Dark Knight Rises. And no one's in a rush to go back. People think, oh, just because a secluded group of friends of mine want to, that means, oh, it's going to make like 180 million opening weekend. The hell it is. Because people like Chris who have a family are thinking about their family. And that's where a lot of the ticket prices are coming from. Not the hardcore Christopher Nolan fans. The families are usually the ones that are making the money, because that's, for one person, that's 5 tickets right there, families. So I'm looking out for the public and the creators. No one's going to get hurt if he releases it too early, at least the way I see it, financially speaking. Like, I want to see it in theaters, but I'm not going to risk my safety with asthma, and my entire family has asthma. I'm not going to risk it for a freaking movie. Are you crazy? Yeah, just wait. I don't know why they're like, yeah, we pushed it back 2 weeks. Big whoop. What's going to change in 2 weeks? Nothing much. You got to wait. I would say at the earliest, October, earliest. November's a hot spot right now with everything being dumped there. You got Wonder Woman 84. I think it's still, no, Wonder Woman got pushed back, right?
Yeah, it's in October now.
Yeah, so I think Black Widow still hasn't pushed back. I think if things keep going up, I think that's going to end up getting pushed back too. But right now, November's a hot spot, and I don't think it would be wise to put it there. Just October at the earliest, maybe December.
Yeah, and that would push back Dune, but I would be okay with seeing that in December and then seeing Dune and a little bit later next year. But I think you're right, Gump. There 2 weeks, that's really not going to change much. And I think that releasing it this early could potentially risk some ticket sales. But I'm going to go to somebody who has worked in a movie theater. Amanda, let me know your thoughts about this. The movie delays. When do you think you're going to go back to the movie theater? And what do you think?
So I'm going to tell you, because I got a phone call from my manager yesterday. So I'm going to give you pretty much what they want to do. Apparently, they're opening up the theaters in stages. And there will be plexiglass around box office and around concessions and other food units, from what I know. There's going to be hand sanitizing stations all over the theaters. I'm just saying this is what's happening in Canada. I don't know what's going to be happening in the States, but I hope they do follow suit. Apparently, the theaters are going to be reserved seating from now on. And like in every single auditorium, it's going to be reserved seating.
That's too much.
Well, I actually prefer reserved seating, to be perfectly honest.
You got to okay.
Yeah, sorry. I
understand.
prefer it. And they're going to try to force people to purchase online tickets versus in the theater, which is something that should have been done from way before. So that's what they said. They're going to be blocking off, at least in our auditoriums, there's like 200 to 300 people that we could fit. So it would be like 30% of that we would be releasing to the general public, unless they give them more seats. We don't know. But that's generally what is going to happen. I think it's a load of shit opening this early. Because this is what I was saying on my live on Instagram last week when I got the message. If hypothetically I pick the middle seat in the middle row and you need to keep a 2-meter perimeter around me, if someone is sitting in the aisle seat on either side, because there's 30 seats in a row, and I have to get to the middle seat, do I not have to be all up in this guy's grill on the aisle to pass him and then go sit there?
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have to do that. Another thing, I ain't wearing a mask for 2.5 hours if I have popcorn in my hand and a drink, so that's going to be off. Sure as hell not wearing gloves, right? So
concession.
Exactly. And they're not going to open concessions yet. So what the F are we opening for? So I think that Christopher Nolan made an entire production about cinema is dying. Cinema is dying. My movie will save cinema, guys. And this is before the pandemic started. He was going on and on. My movie's going to save cinema. This big event, blah, 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 as if his money...
The more he talks, the more I'm like, dude, shut up. I like you. And you're becoming a pretentious douchebag. I don't like you anymore.
Exactly. But now...
Be quiet, Christopher.
It's true. So now the narrative surrounding the big cinematic event saving cinema and movie theaters has turned into a grand reopening of movie theaters in the pandemic. So the narrative got twisted because of COVID-19, and now it's like the poster child of theaters reopening and using that specific film. And now everyone's going to go watch Tenet because this is the film that's supposed to save cinema. That's the narrative that it has.
Hearing stuff like that it makes me really upset. It's just like I hear an echo.
No, you're fine.
Okay, whatever. But hearing I love Christopher Nolan. I love his style a lot. Like his genre, like science fiction and all that stuff. I love it so much. And hearing him talk like that, it shows you that you can be a great talent, but once you make X amount of movies, that talent can get to your head. And hopefully he wasn't always like that, but like, what the hell? You make good movies, and you're trying to push your movie like, oh, dude, like, oh, I'm so good. I'm like the savior. I'm the
think he's
savior
gonna get
of the
his box
cinema.
office with 30% capacity? Does he think he's gonna get recoup his money?
Exactly.
He has a better chance of giving me $20. I'll give him $20 to watch it in my house right now.
Yep.
You're not getting my money when it comes out. I'm sorry.
It's true.
He pulled the pretentious douchebag card out, Mr. I don't have a cell phone. and now health risk, and people are going to spread it. It's not worth it. And this is an artist saying this.
It's not worth it.
This is an example of like when artists get too high and mighty. Like I love all of his movies. There's not one movie I have not loved. Inception is my personal favorite, and I just sit there and I just adore it with the suspense and hearing someone with such talent just be so egotistical. Someone I looked up to when I was a kid, watching the like Batman Begins. When Batman Begins came out, I was like 8 and 9 years old. I'm watching this like, oh my god, this guy's style is so amazing. Because my favorite superhero movie before that was just Spider-Man, and under Spider-Man was some Batman Forever or some crap. I don't know. I was a kid. But so when I finally watched Batman Begins, I'm like, this is my second favorite. I love it. And I looked up to this guy, and now I'm hearing that he's just like, he's more worried about his film than the public safety, and he's going to use a pandemic to like help promote his film. Who the hell do you think you are? You're Christopher freaking Nolan. You don't need assistance. You don't need a handicap. You don't need a walker to get through the box office.
He doesn't need a gimmick to get us to go to see his film.
The dude is a master of making original ideas and making them sell. Inception is an original idea. Interstellar is an original concept. The original movies, a lot of people like to bicker. There's no original movies. They don't support it unless it's Christopher Nolan. Like, original movies just don't sell. But if it has Nolan's name to it, everyone flocks to the theater. We love original movies now because the master Nolan. and now Nolan is sitting there like, we got a pandemic. How am I going to make me look like Jesus Christ of cinema? Okay, I am the savior. The film is dying, and I'm here to say, shut up. Okay, I'm done.
No, I completely agree. We actually got Mel in here. What's going on, girl? Popcorn.
Hey, babes.
You know, the way I feel about it too is that I can wait, man. Like, there's no rush. And I love what you had to say about original movies and especially about Christopher Nolan movies, because I can't say exactly how Ready or Not did in the box office. I don't think it did that well, but I thought that was a fun original movie.
I love that movie.
Oh my God. Ready or Not.
So much fun. It was so great. Such a surprise. Sorry. Continue.
It really was. No, like it was fun. It was so self-contained, and I just really liked the story. I thought it was simple, but it was fun to follow. It was thrilling. It was a good movie. And I think that it kind of tanked. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think it did too well in the box office. Black Klansman didn't do too well. No. Like, original movies just don't do too well unless, like you said, Gump, it's Christopher Nolan's name attached, and then everybody's like, finally, original movies are back again. And then guess what? Where we'll be at in a month? Wonder Woman 1984. So, you know, this brings up a very interesting conversation of original movies and just how much influence they have in the box office, and why studios like Disney are just continuously rebooting films instead of moving forward with original ideas. And also tearing down and destroying franchises. Artemis Fowl. And changing them and making them quote unquote kid friendly, which is idiotic if you ask me. But you know, that's a discussion for another day. I refuse to watch that movie for that very reason, just because they dialed down the story of a criminal mastermind to be like a hero. Like, I'm good. I don't. Nope. This was supposed to be a story about blurring the lines between good and evil, and it's not anymore. But sorry, I'm totally diverting. Let's move on to the next topic, which is very relevant to this one as well. Movie theaters are actually planning to start opening again on June 19th, especially Cinemark. And they will be opening 5 theaters in the Dallas-Fort Worth area starting on June 19th. And AMC, believe it or not, remember we were talking about them a couple months ago, the company that really stirred things up with the studios. They are going to be opening 49 Texas locations and 17 Dallas-Fort Worth locations before Christopher Nolan's Tenet. So they're going to be opening within the next couple weeks. Cinemark is opening on June 19th. I guess I'll just ask, Chris, I'm going to come to you first. You said that you're not going to go. Are you not going to go on June 19th? I don't think I
don't know. No, sir. I don't. To go back to the reason why there's no originality is because we don't go to the movies and see it anymore. Second, why would a studio waste money on that if they reboot stuff and we go see it? They're thinking, if you want more original content, start going to see more original films, and stop going to see these remakes, reboots, chopped down, watered down versions. Quit giving them your money, and then we'll have a voice. So no, Leo, I'm not going to go see the movie. I will catch Tenet when it comes out on DVD.
I gotta say, with Tenet, that is one that I absolutely
want to see it, but I'm not giving into this.
Nah, I understand. Gump, what do you think? Would you wait for the Blu-ray for Tenet, or do you think you're gonna risk it and try to see it in movie theaters? I mean, to be honest, guys, I don't think it's gonna come out in July. I don't think it's gonna come out July 31st. I think what's gonna end up happening is we're gonna see a lot of rescreenings. But Gump, let me get your thoughts on this one. Are you gonna be at the movie theaters?
Oh, hell no, like Chris said, because I have a family who has asthma, so we're like prime targets for the disease. I told you, a couple of you guys already, I had a health scare because my best friend had actually coronavirus, and thank God he's fine now and his entire family's fine. but that really put things into perspective for me that I'm going to be very, very, very cautious. I was just fishing with my friends today, but we were like masked up, and when we were in the car, we were masked up, disinfected everything. We were taking it so seriously just because our best friend was sick. And when we were fishing, we were like not even 6 feet apart. We were like 20 feet apart, and we were yelling just to communicate. That's how serious we were taking it. And you can't do that in a movie theater because you just can't. Everything's compacted. And I guarantee you, if they don't push it back, specifically in the Texas area, because they're opening June 19th, in the Texas area, I can guarantee you, if they stick with this, you're going to see coronavirus spread like wildfire down there. And I don't want it to happen, but because first off, the biggest problem is face mask is optional. I understand that no one wants to watch a movie with a face mask. If that's the case, then don't go. Why are you going to be that selfish, pay $20 to see a movie and not wear a face mask and potentially risk the lives of everybody in that room? They can have a family. They can be just so selfish and thinking about themselves, and they can come back, get their grandfather sick, get their family sick, get their kids sick. To me, it's stupid. I get it. Theaters are severely hurting right now. They need the money, but how does a lawsuit sound for like not thinking about public safety? First off, again, demanding you wear a face mask, demanding you do this. And if you don't think that the customer's going to like it, then don't open. It's that simple. I don't know why this is such a debate. Safety first. You can, like Chris said, I'm the foregoer of movie theater going experiences must be safe. That's my opinion, because there's nothing like going to a movie with a crowd of people, especially like big event films like a Christopher Nolan or like an Avengers. There's nothing like it that you can get watching it with 2 people in your household. But I'm not going to go to an event film to risk health and safety. That's all I got to say. It's just, to me, it's stupid and wild that people are so cool with money first, safety later.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, I don't see why it's really a debate. Amanda makes a good point. My ass is gonna be in some lady's face, so I'm gonna have to end up squeezing by somebody, and germs are gonna spread. Or worse, I might sit on somebody's lap like I have before on accident. You just really never know.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Can we go? I want to hear about that.
Okay, so there is this small neighborhood movie theater that went out of business, and they did $2 Tuesdays. It was called Cinema Grill, and they also cook for you as well if you order from the menu. The theater was packed, and I want to say there was only about 20 seats. I can't remember what movie it was for. It might have been Shark Tale, but it was so packed, and I was squeezing by to get to a seat, and I sat in this lady's lap. And I didn't even notice that I sat in her lap until I heard some giggling behind me. And then I was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I had actually full on sat in this lady's lap, didn't even notice. And she was like, oh, you're fine. You could have stayed there. But
Whoa!
Did you get her number?
Did she have family with her? Was she flirting?
Nothing happened.
You didn't get your number. Oh,
damn, bro.
Rookie mistake. Didn't get her number, Leo. My God.
No way. I'm way too shy. What's going on, Movie Files? What's up, man? We're just
looking at changing the subject so quickly. So adorable.
Of course. I'm shy, I'm embarrassed. Welcome, Movie Files. We're talking a little bit about theaters reopening. It sounds to me like the general consensus is that nobody's gonna go. God, I'm like back and forth because I'm not gonna go to like a Jurassic Park or some random ass rescreening. I'm like, no way. But man, Tenet, that's a big one to miss.
Yeah. See, the thing is like if I have to return to work anyway, like I'm already there, dude. Like I'm going to go. If I'm already in the movie theater working, like for me not to go watch something is kind of stupid. In my area, because our restrictions they're being lifted. So the way it's happening here is that I can pick 10 people to be in my social circle. That's what they're calling it, where it would be my intimate family, and I can like openly hug them and be with them and have lunch and like stay with them. So you have to pick your 10 people. So slowly it's getting better, and our cases have dropped to like under 100 in my area. So it's just, I think it's a different game entirely. But yeah, if I'm like working, then you'll see my butt in that seat for Tenet for sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to hazmat suit y'all and get a mask up. Leo out here running game, movie files. Yeah, I definitely didn't get that number because I was just way too embarrassed. But Mel was asking, can she be your top 10?
Oh, yeah, of course, baby girl. I'm gonna come give you a hug.
You get Amanda a hug,
6
Mel.
feet.
That's what's up. Movie File said the thing about Tenet is that theaters will have limited seating, so people might not be able to see it on their own time, but only when it's available. And I think that is a decent compromise. Just limiting that seating, making people space out. My thing is, how many people are going to follow those rules? I just really don't, especially with not requiring masks, and that's a bad idea. Restaurants out here are requiring masks, and I don't know why movie theaters are not. But there are going to be a lot of people who won't wear a mask. And what do you do when somebody that sits 2 seats down from you starts all of a sudden coughing? Like, it just
throw popcorn.
What's that?
You're gonna throw popcorn at him, just like
throw that popcorn. But yes, I'm hard pressed to say no because of Tenet, but like, look, besides Tenet, I'm not going. I'll brave it out for Tenet, but anything else, I don't need to see Jurassic Park in theaters. I don't need to see. I mean, what are some other things? Mulan.
They're going to be re-releasing Lord of the Rings. I know that was one of the big things they were talking about. Like, how are we going to get people to theaters? Re-release the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm like, bruh, stop it.
Yeah, it's just for money and to gauge interest, see if people are going to come back to the theater anyway, but not me for some rewatches on hard copies that I already own. I don't think so. I can queue that up at home anytime I want. Why would I go to a theater when things are dangerous? And what I'm going to do is continue my Alamo Draft House tradition, and I'll go back and watch their classic movies once they open back up because I know they're going to wait for safety precautions. So I'm going to stick with my Alamo Draft House. Very loyal to them. Shout out. I hope they're listening to this. If you guys are, I would love to be a sponsor. But man, I'm definitely going to wait it out, except for Tenet, because I mean, Mulan? What else is still coming out in July? I think Mulan and Tenet are the only two coming out in July, and I don't need to see Mulan.
Like another reason why I wouldn't want to go, like I said, the main reason why I want to go to theaters in general is because, again, that energy that comes with the theater. When you're going to a theater now in today's climate, things are tense with the disease and everything else that's going on. I don't think that the theater is going to be really screaming the same energy. Everyone's going to be nervous. Everyone's going to be like sweating bullets looking for the one person that coughs. The second someone coughs, everyone's going to be booking it. The energy is not going to be the same. So again, why spend the extra like couple bucks to go to a theater when you can just stay home, stay safe, and just watch it on a TV where you don't have to worry about people coughing on you and like so like it just like germ particles floating around, stuff like that. Because disinfecting doesn't exactly clean everything 100%. I hate to tell you guys that, but there's a reason why it's 99.9% of germs killed. Just saying.
No, you're right, man. I mean, I completely agree. I don't really see why money is more important than safety, but for some reason it is. I'm not going to see Unhinged either straight in theaters. The Russell Crowe movie.
That's Russell Crowe, yeah.
Yeah, it looks interesting, but like I don't need to sacrifice. Mel says she's hazmatting it for Wonder Woman and Happiest Season, and that's it. Yeah, I think for me it's Tenet and Wonder Woman, nothing else. Strictly those two.
Same.
Dune, maybe Dune too.
Maybe Dune. Excuse you, my ass is in that seat for Dune. I don't care, man. It is there. I've been reading this book all quarantine.
I know, and I'm behind. I'm sorry.
I'm not done yet, but sure.
Wait, you're still on the first one?
What are you talking about?
You're still not done with Dune?
Leo. The book is 833 pages. So it's split into...
You got the Bible with you?
Legit. It's split into 3. It says book 1, book 2, book 3, and I'm assuming it's book 4, but it's all in the same book.
Well, excuse me, princess. Okay.
How
well,
dare you
then I
not read at the
understand.
supersonic speed that I read at?
I just wanted to clarify. Okay.
No, you're right. It's 800 pages. Then maybe I can catch up to you. Then that's good to know.
Liam's over there with the audio only version. He's just listening to it. He's like, she'll never catch up.
No, I'm reading off this rinky dink website. I'll admit that. Open on air. I don't mind, but I think I'm maybe Dune. I don't know. I'm really excited to see Dune 2, and I'm also excited for the French Dispatch. But that's coming out in a festival, right? Cannes.
It is, but the official release date is in November.
I don't know. I might have to suit up for that too.
Literally everything is dropping in November for award season, but apparently there's going to be an official announcement on the 15th of June, that's tomorrow, that they're going to maybe push back the Oscar date and it won't be February, among like other changes that they're going to make from what I read on Twitter. So that's going to be a couple of changes there for Oscar season.
Oh, I'm over with the Oscars already. I mean, I'm so happy people are gonna get their rewards and stuff like that, but I don't know. Just the Oscars, the way they change their rules more than I change my underwear, bro. I don't know. Like, my God, bro. One year it's like 10 awards for Best Picture, and then next year they're like, no, there's only 5. I mean, my God, bro, stop, chill. It's like you're the stupid Academy Awards. They're like the top tier awards, and you just can't make up your damn mind. What was it, last year or the year before? They were like, most popular film.
Oh yeah, they tried to do the popular feature 2 years ago, and people riled the shit out of that, and they removed it before it even started because they had Avengers, Infinity War, what else was on there? And Mission Impossible. There was a couple other films.
No, Black Panther was not nominated for most popular because it wasn't. It was
no. I didn't say Black Panther. I was saying.
No, I'm saying
Infinity
I thought
War.
it was. I thought it was for most popular, but then I remember it was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
so, because I remember it was nominated. I mean, what a dumb idea.
It should have been 10 films off the get-go, man.
Yeah, I've been saying it for years. Like, it pissed me off that they did like 7 one year, and I'm like, you could have nominated Straight Outta Compton, The Hateful Eight, and
Straight Outta Compton was such a great movie, bro. Oh my God,
so good.
Yeah, it should have been nominated for sure. There was another one that I was gonna say,
The Peanut Butter Falcon.
Such a good movie. But yeah, I thought that like it was more of guidelines. Like, they changed the rules to 10 and then they never used 10. So to say now that like it's officially going to be 10, it's like, well, F you. There's been films that deserved a spot for Best Picture, and you kept doing like 7, 8. When Mudbound got snubbed for Best Picture, it pissed me off because there was 9 Best Picture nominees, and I'm like, what in the literal like fuck? Like, why would you do that? Could have just like, I'm gonna drop it here. Like, no, you did 9 instead of 10. Like, it's just stupid.
Yeah, the whole concept of like, okay, so for the past several years, it's been, to my knowledge, it was okay. Our awards are gonna be from 7 to 10, or it was like 6 to 10, or something like that. What a dumb idea! This is like, there's no precedence of like of something so severe of this award show. And you're sitting there like, okay, I wonder, is there going to be another film? Or are they going to release the 8th film, 9th film? Are they going to actually make it 10? So my film that I want to win be nominated. What a dumb idea. I don't get it. Just like, it just shows you that the people that are running the Academy Awards are like 90 years old and finally losing their crap. They put down their cane somewhere. They're like, I put this thing down somewhere. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, how many films are we doing this year? I think we're gonna go with 6. I don't know. They just crane away because they don't know. They can't walk 10 feet. So why are they running a business like the Academy Awards? Oh, that's why I just don't like the Academy Awards, because the way they're run is just so.
I'm gonna say something that warranted some changes, and that's hashtag Oscars so white.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, like when people finally started realizing, like, what the hell? This is a diverse playing field, and we're only nominating white people. Yeah, that's when things definitely needed to start changing and have been changing since. And I gotta say, I really did enjoy that year, and And Amanda, am I wrong about this one? Was it Moonlight or Green Book when they didn't have a host? Because I know they didn't. They went with no host.
It was Green Book. It was last year. Last year had no host.
Oh, so it was last year? Yeah,
last year was the first time in like years that they didn't have a host.
Yeah, because after the whole Kevin Hart thing, no one's like, yeah, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So yeah,
love that. We can keep on with that energy. Keep on, no host. Just keep the awards coming. I thought that the pacing of the awards was a lot quicker without a host. And I enjoyed it without anybody like chapping and chiming in between. We don't need that. Just get the awards out. Like we really don't need all that chiming. But I want to say one more person in movie that got snubbed. Toni Collette for Hereditary. That was a dynamic performance. And this lady changes her tune almost every single movie. She has such phenomenal acting skills. She's got a lot of finesse. She's got a lot of great camera presence in whatever role she brings to you. And I think she was completely snubbed for that role for Best Lead Actress. Chris, my man, you've been kind of quiet though. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just listening. Enjoying the conversation. Man. Don't really have a whole lot to say that you guys aren't saying.
I understand, man. We're going to move on to favorite Superman film.
Here we go.
And I got to admit, as Chris, Amanda, and Gump, I'm sure I've told you, I took a DC break for a little while just because I got really shook up about the Dark Knight Rises shooting. I was almost involved. But I kind of took a break from DC and came back and when Man of Steel and stuff started coming out. And I got to say, for me, it's still that original Christopher Reeve. And I think it might be for the fact of that John Williams theme and just how dynamic and phenomenal that is. And I love that there was an Easter egg for that in Justice League. But I'm going to go to my guy, Chris. I want to know your favorite Superman movie, man, because, man, you're a filmmaker. I got to hear which one is your favorite.
My favorite is Man of Steel.
How dare you?
It was the original. I mean, Christopher Reeves is Superman. As much as Superman as Henry Cavill is to me. You can't take away from what that guy brought to the table as the actor and what Richard Donner did and the Soul Kinds with the rights to make Superman and you know the things that went into that film really set the tone for the films that we watch now. But Man of Steel is more along the lines of what I would do if somebody said, Chris, make a superhero film about Superman, and I would get to the core of the person. And maybe that wasn't what everybody really wanted, but I could feel the immense pressure that kind of Superman would be under in a world that isn't so great. And I know that people don't want that, but there's tons of comic books. There's 80 years of Superman comic books. If you don't like that, go ahead and read it. There's genres there for you. So you can enjoy whatever kind of Superman you want. It came out at a perfect time for me. The Nolan stuff. And then I saw the Watchmen. So for me, it's Man of Steel. And you want to talk about music though? John Williams' score that's phenomenal. But Hans Zimmer nailed it.
Oh my God! Dude,
nailed it with the soundtrack. It was, bro. I had the sound. I bootlegged the soundtrack months before the movie came out because it just struck a chord when he takes flight.
Oh. I mean, listening back to it like 17 times.
It's the best.
Is it? I mean, look.
Get out. How do I
look, hold on.
Someone from here?
Hold on. I rewatched Man of Steel at the same time as Manda for the Zack Snyder Cut announcement.
You're welcome.
And I gotta say, going back, I like that film a lot more than I remember. The first fight scene was incredible. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, I guess I wanted to be more hyped up. Like, I liked it, but I wasn't just like, oh my God, like it wasn't over the top amazing for me. And I wonder if half of it has to do with that the fact that I just growing up, I was never huge into Superman. I was always Batman over Superman anyway, and even over those two, I was definitely Green Lantern and Flash. So I wonder if it just has a lot to do with like my interest in the character. I guess I wasn't really personally that interested in investing in the mind of Superman. I don't know. I wasn't like hooked and jarred like everyone else. Like I liked it. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a great film. I love the way Zack Snyder shoots Superman flying. I think that it is so dynamic, and the battles between Superman and Zod and Superman and the Kryptonians are just bursts of energy and air. Like the way that the Kryptonian flight and strength and speed is depicted is incredible. And I think the way the movie looks, feels, I love how Superman's costume is muted. It's not the bright colors, it's not the trunks or tights. It's just a modern take on the outfit. The cape is phenomenal. There are some great shots when he's flying and he's coming down over the military. Amazing cinematography. But I mean, I don't know. I was not crazy about the film. I liked the film. In terms of DCEU, I will put it even in my top 4. But I just wasn't really crazy about it. And growing up, I just always remember the original Superman, Christopher Reeves, man. Like that was my Superman. Like I just thought he was such a great amalgam of both Superman and Clark Kent, and like he just stood for everything good, and the music was amazing. And while it doesn't look as great as Henry Cavill's Superman per se, I still just very much loved it in my heart. And I think that whenever I think of Superman, that's just who comes to my mind first, even though I really did like Henry Cavill's Superman. When I think of Henry Cavill's Superman, unfortunately, what comes to my mind is the problems that the DCEU had in the early stages of it, and how they didn't even have a Man of Steel 2, and there's still really a lot of confusion around Man of Steel 2 or sequels, this, that. Is he going to be in Shazam? Is he gonna, it just feels so sloppy to me. And I think that's a little piece of it too, is that it just is sloppily executed. And I think for me, the Kryptonian lore, like I liked it, but did I love it? I guess not. Like I just wasn't that hyped. What's up, Christian? Just joined in. We're talking a little bit about our favorite Superman movies. Mine being the original Superman, starring Christopher Reeves, and I actually really like that George Reeves stuff as well. But honestly, I don't know. Man of Steel, I guess, just doesn't get me as excited as I want to be. And I really want, don't get me wrong, I really want to be excited for Man of Steel. I really want to love it. And there are some things that I really very much enjoy about it. But when I think of Superman, it comes to the original Christopher Reeves for me. And I loved those movies. Definitely not past the second one, though, and the fourth one was atrocious. Hopefully we could just bury that from our minds and never, that doesn't exist, folks. It doesn't exist. But the first two Superman movies with Christopher Reeves were just so good, and he's just such a triumphant Superman. I really like it. Superman Red Son is chef's kiss. Yes, the animated is amazing. But Amanda, let me get to you. I know you're gonna say Man of Steel. That's your favorite Superman film?
You know, I grew up on Christopher Reeves, and I think that no one's taking into account Smallville as a TV show.
Yeah,
no, we are. We are.
Hey, let me talk.
Nobody cares about Tom Welling.
I thought he was great, and I love seeing like early Clark discovering his powers. Like I really thought they did such a great job, but I will say that Henry Cavill is the embodiment of the Man of Steel. And there were certain shots when he was taking flight where he kind of looked like Christopher Reeves, and it made me so emotional sitting there in that theater, especially with like Zimmer's score in the background. Like it was, because I grew up with Christopher Reeves. I'm not saying he's not a good Superman, but for someone who grew up with him and then saw like an enhanced version based on like technical aspects, cinematography, direction, like it's just it takes a good and a very strong eye to capture Superman in the way that Zack Snyder did. And that's why I love Man of Steel so much, because you can't knock the fact that Zack has a brilliant vision for Superman and everything he did. Like, Leo, we were talking about it after the Snyder Cut was announced, and you were like what you said right now, you were actually surprised that you kind of liked it afterwards, and then you were praising Zack. And I think it's really great to go back and watch these films, to be able to see and notice things that these directors do that are different from films that came out before, in this case for Superman with Christopher Reeves. So I think because of the technological advancements, it's a huge factor for me. Obviously, based off of nostalgia, Christopher Reeves is great, but Man of Steel, just shit, man, it warms my heart. And it got me so pumped for everything that was supposed to happen in the DCU. And it did not happen the way we planned it. But yeah, Henry just walked out of the comics, fam. And a lot of people, a lot of people say that it's kind of like an immigrant story. It's a symbol, of an immigrant story of Superman. So I think that if you look
like
at
Moses and Jesus, and immigrant, it's a lot of symbolism.
Yeah.
But I think, Amanda, to piggyback what you're saying is, I don't think that we can appreciate Henry Cavill's version and Zack Snyder's version if we didn't have a great version with Christopher Reeves and Richard Donner. I mean, for a very long time, and still to this day, if you were to put a gun to my head, Christopher Reeves is Superman that pops up in my head. I have to really think hard to see Henry as Superman, just because all we have of him is Man of Steel and a little bit of BVS, and him and BVS was a conflicted Superman who didn't know if he wanted to be Superman, and then we killed him off too soon. So but there's something about the visuals, the refreshing take, and the sound, the music that is Man of Steel. It's just this organic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. I've been trying to explain to people why I love it so much.
I feel you,
but I can't.
Yeah, it's hard to describe.
When we saw Krypton from the first time, that creature roaring, and we hear the music, and it's just like this.
Oh my god!
I was like, oh
so
shit,
good.
dude, he went for it.
It's an experience.
Went for it. Okay, this is not going to be anything we've seen before. So it got me really pumped. It got me excited. I don't see when people were backlashing that film. When the fight was going on, I wasn't at all going, holy crap, that's too much destruction. It never even dawned on me.
Same.
I'm thinking, how is Superman going to stop him? How is Superman going to stop him?
Yeah.
I mean, Superman's got, how is he supposed to, give the guy, I mean, for me, the thing was, I always understood, he doesn't know how to use his powers. I can hear people in the movie theater that when I was sitting there, what is he? I'm like, he doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea. He just learned he can fly 15 minutes ago.
I think the beauty of that fight scene. I think the beauty of that fight scene is that Zack brought us into his world on Earth, if that makes sense. So you get lost in the power of Zod and in the power of Feor. You get lost in their power and seeing it versus of that's why I think even at the beginning of Batman vs Superman, when they take you back to the fight in Metropolis, we didn't feel that. We didn't feel what Bruce Wayne was seeing versus us being so deeply involved in that fight scene. So Chris, I agree with you completely that I didn't feel the destruction. It was
I was concerned with Soup. How is he gonna how is he gonna do
real
this?
Quick, Chris, I hate to cut you off, but I want to just real quick address Christian's comment. He did say he's never seen the OG Superman movies. I do encourage Christian at least the first Christopher Reeves one. But he said he's not my favorite superhero, and he made a comment that I completely agree with.
Don't say it. Because I'm going to go on a rant. I saw that. I was going to go on a rant, and I didn't want to bring it up, but
Goku is better than Superman, bro. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about this one.
Okay. Let me make this quick because I've had this discussion on my channel many times, and I got a lot of crap for it every single time. First off, Superman is a character that stands for truth and justice and hope, but he still has his inner conflict because it's such a high standard to live up to. Goku is just like the guy, just like sits down. He's like, "Oh, I want you at your full strength." Got his own son killed. I just heard that in the car literally 6 hours ago. He let his own son die because he wanted a villain to be at his full strength. He's a dumb idiot.
Hold on. Here's what I'll say about Goku. He is not as moral, and he's not as good of a character as Superman. Goku's purpose is to be the greatest fighter in the world. He doesn't really care about much more than that. So I can say as a character, Goku is definitely a lot more one-dimensional. However, man, I think if you put him up against Supes, the only way Superman is going to win is if Superman flies extremely close to the sun. And I don't know, man. I don't know if he'll be able to take out Golden Ape Goku. I don't know, man. I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting the gloves out. Okay, here we go. This one comes first. Was like, by the way, this on my OG channel days. Oh my God, this was like, okay. So first off, Goku's biggest weakness is his stupid arrogance and his idiocracy. He's like, okay, I want the enemy at their strongest. Bro, Superman has no limit. He can bathe in the sun for like 1,000 years and he's going to be omnipotent. Goku's like, I'll check the strongest. But there's no such thing as Superman's strongest. So I don't want to hear that crap. I don't know how Superman's going to go against Goku.
Man. Goku, I don't know, man. Goku definitely pull through. And that's the thing is Goku always does pull through. Okay. Then I got to ask you, what's your favorite Superman movie?
Okay. Before I answer that, I wanted to throw shade on Amanda over here for a second. How dare you bring up a Smallville in this conversation? I just got to bring that up. I had to.
Man.
30 minutes of him crying his feelings out on a balcony. What crap. Okay. That aside, Man of Steel. I'm glad. Listen, Amanda, you pulled through at the end with saying Man of Steel, because in my opinion, I agree with Chris 100%. What I love about Superman, at least in Man of Steel, is it brings a whole new layer to the character. Because the Superman I grew up watching was not Christopher Reeves. Because I didn't see Christopher Reeves' movie until I was like 17, 18 years old. I grew up on the animated stuff. He is kind of one-dimensional in the animated stuff. What I grew up with. Oh, like I'm the Boy Scout. I stand for truth and justice. That's all his character was. With Man of Steel, it added that new layer. At least put it in full blast. I will say that. Put it in full blast of saying like how unsure he is. The true struggle of having that kind of weight on your shoulders. You can be bulletproof. You can be super strong. You can have all these powers, but even Superman can't be in like 100,000 places at once. And again, like what Chris was saying, like people bickering about, he could have saved him. He didn't have to kill Zod. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. The man had zero combat training. He was raised on a farm, got powers. 2 hours later, he's fighting guys with combat training that are just on his level.
They're bred to fight.
They were not fighting to pin him down. They were fighting to kill him. He was outnumbered what, 1 to 5, 1 to 6. My man had a pulse. He had to punch him as hard. He had to knock them down, bro. And it's sorry if he punched for survival and hit a couple buildings. Sorry, my bad. I forgot that the audience was just too busy complaining about him not having red underwear. Like, I don't understand why it's such a huge. It still matches the costume, but everyone wants to find something crap about in this movie. I understand if you want a more truth and justice Superman. If that's what you want, that's fantastic. Like Chris said, you have 80,000 hours, minutes, and days worth of content of Superman. So this was a new take on a new universe with a new spin. But I understand why a lot of people will prefer Christopher Reeve. I met one person in my day that said, I prefer the Superman Returns. I don't know what he was on when he saw that, but he thought it was a masterpiece. I wanted to puke. I wanted to die of boredom watching it. But everyone has their own Superman. Everyone has their own Batman because there's so many different versions of the characters, and everyone grew up with a certain different film of Superman. Everyone grew up with a different saga of Star Wars. Some people grew up with the prequels. That's why they like the prequels. Some people literally were raised when Star Wars was coming out, and that's why they held it close and dear to your heart. But to me, my true Superman, when I think of Superman, is animated Superman. So it's kind of beat because when I'm at gunpoint, I'm screwed because I don't think a cartoon's come and save me. So I don't know, unless Looney Tunes Back in Action comes out and he's like, "Yo, well then we're connected with Warner Brothers, so we can get soups if you need them." I'll be like, "Yes, Bugs Bunny, thank you, buddy." But now, Man of Steel, I think is a close to a masterpiece when it comes to the superhero genre. I acknowledge its flaws. But bringing Superman on a human level was fantastic. I think a lot of the symbolism was a little too much. That's one of my weaknesses with the movie. The symbolism, the Jesus symbolism. I'm like, okay, let's stop. No.
To be fair, that's been a part of Superman's MO.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Just for me, if I'm making a Superman movie, it's just not something I want to do. At least not make it that obvious. Like, I understand, like, his whole thing, he's a god among men. But I feel like they just kind of hammered in with a freaking drill gun. Just like, yo, he's God. He's like Jesus. He's the second coming. I'm like,
yeah, that shit was annoying.
Yeah, other than that, though, I don't know. I love the tone. I love the doubt that he had in his mind. And a lot of the complaints with his parents, like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. The whole point of his parents where they were not going to sit there and restrain him. They wanted him to make the choice on his own so he can actually be the truth. Because when you force someone to be something, there's going to be a lot of resent. So he's got to learn the hard way. When you're growing up, most of the lessons you learn is not from a sit-down talk one-on-one. You learn it the hard way. Don't go outside in the rain because you're going to get sick. When you stop going outside in the rain, just because you got sick. It's not because mommy and daddy told you. At least 90% of the people. It just puts Superman on a humanistic level. And another scene people complain about is Jonathan Kent dying. His whole thing was protecting his son. He did not think the world was ready. Yes, he could have been saved. Yes, Superman could have gone out there. Clark could have gone out there and saved the people and all the dog and all. He would have been exposed. And it shows you how dedicated Jonathan Kent was as a parent, as a father to Clark. He said, I would rather die than expose you too early. And guess what? When Superman comes out, he's like, I'm Superman, I'm a god. People backlash. So can you blame Jonathan Kent for being like, I want to die, then you come out and be exposed? And the only reason why he came out is because, like, literally one of the first acts of Superman was not just the bus. Like, when he was going on the oil rig, he saw humanity for the first time not being selfish assholes. So he's like, maybe I should be Superman. So I love that inner monologue. I love that inner struggle. Sorry for rambling for like 25 minutes, but yeah, that's my take on Man of Steel.
No problem, man. I mean, you make a lot of good points, and the scene where his dad sacrifices himself, that was so profound. But I don't know, man. I gotta go Goku over Superman, y'all. If I'm going to choose, I'm definitely gonna be watching some Dragon Ball Z first. Chris, you just have no room to talk here because you don't watch the show. So I'm not gonna allow any Goku slander. I'm gonna kick you out. I'm sorry.
Chris and I are gonna go watch Man of Steel while you guys go bitch about Goku. How's that?
count Doku.
Oh, got him. That was painful, but I'm gonna go with you.
Okay, Chris has been removed. We are going to move on to
Chris.
Matt Reeves, the Batman. Shut up, Chris. I told you.
He put you in the corner, bro.
I'm gonna take you out. But let's move on, guys. We got one last topic. The Matt Reeves Batman movie. Now, this is a rumor, but inside sources are saying that Matt Reeves wants to add a new Joker to the Batman. Chris, as my Batman aficionado, I gotta come to you first, man. Do you feel like there's been too many Jokers, or are you down for another Joker? And who would it be? Let us know.
Are there too many Jokers? Yes. Am I down for more? Absolutely. He's my favorite villain. If you're gonna have Batman, you're gonna have Joker. So if you're gonna give me more Batman, give me more Joker. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Who do I want to play the Joker? I'm not, I've always thought that William Dafoe would be a great Joker.
Nice.
Yes.
but I think he's getting a little too old.
Yeah.
I don't know what they could really do with him, Rob. Unless but I'm interested in maybe an older Joker. So you know me, I'm all about original takes and seeing original things. I say more Joker. I know it's just a rumor, but if you're going to introduce a Batman, and I need the Joker needs to be there. Like even Nolan knew back then that, okay, if you're going to do another Batman movie, you have to have the Joker in it. It's imperative. They're the yin, the yang. We'll get pissed off if we get a Superman movie and we don't get a Lex Luthor. But did we not get a Lex Luthor in the second film? Yeah. Did we not get a Joker in the second Batman movie? Yeah. Is Matt Reeves going to make a second Batman movie? Probably. Is the Joker going to be in it? Yeah. Is it going to be Joaquin Phoenix? No. Because if that was the Joker, to begin with, why is he not in his traditional Joker clothing?
Because it's a different take.
It's a different take, but that's not the Joker.
It was the lead up to him.
Yeah. So like people are saying that, like, and you know what, Todd Phillips, you can dull down your ego too, just a little bit. Calm
Agreed.
down. You're going off like you did something for. Let's not forget, you were known for raunchy, stupid, popcorn eating movies. So just because Martin Scorsese threw you a script and someone said, "Hey, we can put Joker shit in this and make it a Joker movie," I'm not buying it one bit. That was not a film that was supposed to be the Joker. They made it the Joker from whatever the bare bones script it was. You can't tell me otherwise. It doesn't make sense for them to make it. Their Joker doesn't do any of the. They never came out and said this is a different take, different universe Joker. They never said that. But Todd Phillips is acting like he created the fucking world's best Joker ever. Like his film is not without flaws. It is flawed. Let me tell you. You couldn't get who you wanted to do certain roles, and it shows that you got lesser actors. I'm sorry. It's not that great of a film. Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, do we really get him as Joker? Maybe the last minute or two of the film. When he's talking to that character, when you just wanted to make fun of me, blah, blah, blah.
Robert De Niro's character.
Yeah, I got a little bit of The Dark Knight from him. That's it. Look at Jared Leto's Joker is more of a Joker than that. Joaquin Phoenix.
No.
Go back and look at the comic books David Ayer.
Stop you right there.
Dude, go back and look at the comic books that David Ayer took and the pictures that he took with his cast, and he was trying to do something. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell that Joker was. That wasn't the real Joker, and we all know that Bruce Wayne was a kid. The math doesn't add up. Leo, me and you did the math on a live stream.
But you just said you were okay with the older Joker and the Batman.
I like the Joker. Give me more Joker content. I'll eat it up. I'm an idiot. I'll eat Joker up. But I don't want to sit there and say that the Joker movie with Todd Phillips and Martin Scorsese producing it is this cool thing, and all of a sudden Todd Phillips is this edgy, cool director. He's not. Sorry.
I just think that Joker film specifically, I agree with you that you don't necessarily see the Joker, but as a character piece, and I told
that was called Arthur or something like that.
Yes, I understand.
The film.
I understand it. I get what you're saying. I understand.
Take the Joker out. It's Oscar worthy.
Let her finish.
I'm just saying, like, I've been telling people the Joker film is not a comic book film. Never was to begin with. This is like a one piece, like one-off Elseworlds type of thing, right? If you want to think about it that way. It is the psychology of what makes this person turn into the Joker. You can say that it's crap. I've seen takes like freaking people were dragging it, and I get what you're saying. But the work that Joaquin put in to have like lost all that weight, go as crazy as he did in it, which I think that subtlety is the best way to show the Joker, because that's why I love Heath Ledger's Joker so much. It's the fact that you're learning the psychology of this person. And I guess I'm someone who really loves to dive deep into the mind of someone and of a character. And I think that's what they did really well. Of course, the film was flawed. I understand it. But to just go deep into the psyche of someone who eventually turns into this villain was so fun to watch. It was great in that
I
case.
agree with you.
I
on that.
completely agree.
But
Why
comic
couldn't they
book
give us a Joker
accuracy,
origin then?
I
A
get what
real
you're
legit
saying.
one.
Comic book accuracy,
Go
I
all the way.
completely understand where people, I completely get you, Chris, trust me, where you have diehard Joker fans and they're upset with it. I completely get it. But on the other end, it's like, it's such a fresh take to that character. And maybe you don't even technically like need the source material in that case. It's just an entire being in itself. Like they wanted to play around with this, the possibility of this character, rather than look at the source material in this case. But I do understand why people are upset with it.
It's very much a small character study film that leads up to the Joker at the end.
Yes.
It is not, you're right, Chris, it's not a Joker origin story.
Yeah.
It is a deep psych dive into a man who plummets into the Joker at the end of the movie. I love that. I was honestly, my expectations were defied for this movie. It for me, like every turn of the movie, there was just something that kind of just jumped out at me that I really enjoyed. I agree with you, Amanda, that Joaquin's performance here is amazing, and the effort he put into the role was like spectacular. And for me, even the cinematography is amazing, just that it kind of does follow his transformation. And we see not only him become the Joker, we also see the camera also do the same thing. It gets more comfortable with him. It gets more close. The shots are closer. They're more confident. They're brighter. They're orange instead of the greens and the blues in the beginning. So I just really liked following the journey and the transition. For me, it was never a film where I was like, okay, it's the Gotham PD and stuff like that. Well, what the fuck? Where's Batman? Where's this? Where's Joker? Like for me, it was never that. I knew that this was a completely different movie, and I looked at it as just an independent character study, and putting the Joker twist in it there for me, I liked it. I didn't really have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I know for some people, and you're not the only one to say this, Chris, it's not a Joker movie, and that you could strip out the Gotham stuff and that it's just a completely different movie. I still would have loved it just as much. Putting the Joker on it didn't really
me too.
hinder it for me. But that's the thing, is like slapping the Joker themes and the Gotham stuff, that didn't hinder it for me. That didn't make it worse. That didn't make it not a Joker film. I mean, for me, I really enjoyed it, and I liked some of the references to Scorsese's movies. I just really liked it a lot. Honestly, like there's not a lot about that movie I didn't like, besides maybe the pacing's slow. But I did like that we got to know Arthur, and we got to know who he is and why he made that transition. Like we were just so close with him the whole time. And I love that. I really adored that. I thought it was one of Joaquin's best in his later years here. And I just had a really fun time there. But I'm digressing a little bit. Gump, I wanted to hear your thoughts on this, a possible new Joker. Do you think there's too many Jokers? And if there is a new Joker, who would you like to see play the Joker?
So on the whole front about getting a new Joker, I think we should wait. I definitely agree with Chris that Joker is definitely needed in a adaptation of Batman. It's like essential. It's the yin to his yang. But I think we need to wait a little bit, just personally, because there's more Jokers. It feels like it. There's more Jokers than there has been Spider-Man. I know that's not the truth. I'm saying that's how it feels, because the villains aren't the main focus. The superheroes
is the truth, though.
Not the like. I'm not saying that like villains are side trash. I'm not saying that, but like we're watching it mainly for the heroes, because it's titled Batman. It's titled Superman. It's titled Spider-Man. I feel like, me personally, I think I would like to see a Joker in the third movie, because I want to see new Batman villains. Batman's got the second largest rogues gallery off the top of my head, because I think Spider-Man's got the biggest. I want to see new villains. That's just me, because I want to see Batman react and adapt to these newer, bigger threats that he's got. I want to see a Clayface villain. I've always wanted to see Clayface, because I want to see a detective story. Yeah. That's my thing. And constantly getting Joker over and over and over again, I'm just like, I want to establish this Batman first, give it some time, then we can get Joker. Because again, I agree, it is essential to have Joker. But I want to like space out these Jokers a little bit more. Just for me.
Can we get like Deathstroke or something? Like, let's get some
that's
killer.
what I'm saying. Like in the original Ben Affleck script, it was going to be Deathstroke. I'm like, oh my God, bro, that would have been dope because I want to see Batman actually struggle in a fist fight. Like we don't really see that. Like I want to see him like I'm talking about with top-notch choreography. Because the only time I loved like Batman's choreography was in BBS. And I don't like that movie. And that's the only thing I'm like sitting there like, damn.
That
like,
warehouse scene.
Dude, he's going there swinging super fast. I'm like, okay. Because when I see Nolan's Batman, I sit there, I'm thinking, like, I can kick this guy's ass. But when I saw Ben Affleck's Batman, I'm like, dude, stay away from me. Like, I was, because of his physicality and the way he moved was threatening. It was fast. It was so strong. And I want to see more of that. And I want to see that kind of Batman actually get into a cool fist fight. And I want to see that on top of a detective story. Because what makes Deathstroke so scary is that he's intelligent and he's good at the hand-to-hand combat. There's not many people in the comic books that can actually beat Batman in a hand-to-hand fight. Deathstroke's one of them. And I think that'll be fascinating. Fascinating. Maybe not for number 1, but maybe for number 2. But honestly, I don't care as long as we get a Deathstroke live action. But I just want to wait on the Joker because I want to establish Batman's morals first. I want him to like after 2 movies, like he's like, okay, I've been doing this Batman thing for I don't know 3, 4, 5 years now. It's time for me to like establish these rules and then move forward. And then have Joker come in and then make him question every decision he made. Like, okay, these rules that I established, were they really for me or were they for like the public eye? Like, I want him to do that. I want Joker to get in our heads, not just Batman's heads, but the audience's head, because he makes people question themselves, make them go insane, and that's what he does best. And I just don't think you can really perform that top notch in a Batman film on the first try. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. But I think it would affect it much, much more in my eyes if it was like a 2 or a 3. And what you guys were saying with Joker, the movie, honestly, it didn't. Like you guys were saying, it was not a Joker movie at first, at least the way I see it. Did I care? Did it bother me? No. But I at first watched it, I was like, this is really cool. But as time went on, it wasn't really subtle to me. It wasn't very subtle. A lot of the the camera movement's a little different. The way Joaquin Phoenix is walking is different because it's symbolism left and right, like how his character was changing. I just feel like it was heavy tone. It was like heavy in our face. It's just like here's the baby food. He's changing. His character's changing. I feel like there was a lot more subtle ways you can do it. That's just me. I know I'm not gonna diss out anybody who loves it. If you guys loved it, that's cool, but I just feel like there was a lot more subtlety to do it for, and I don't know. It just feels like another movie to me. But yeah, all in all, who am I gonna cast as Joker though? I don't know. Defoe is a good because he's a good actor. He's cracked out, bro. He's wild. He can definitely get that really wild. Yeah, like how he was with Goblin and Green Goblin and Spider-Man 1. Dude, okay, let's be honest here. I grew up with Spider-Man 1. That's what made me a film fan and what made me a superhero fan.
My guy.
Gobby is the one that stole the movie because let's be honest, McGuire's lines were crap. He's like, you're the one that's lost to Gobby. You lost your mind. I'm like, this comes from a Spider-Man fan. So I could say that. So I don't diss on Spider-Man, but that was crap. Green Goblin was amazing. And I think you turn that and make it more dark and sinister and less comic booky. I think it would be a great villain for Batman.
And I think you bring up an amazing point in that just like in Nolan's Batman trilogy, you got to bring in Joker a little bit later. That's a heavy hitter. I think you could easily start this off with like Deathstroke, man. I think that would be the perfect way to start this. And I know he's gonna have Penguin in the film and Two-Face, if I'm not mistaken. But like I would really like to see Joker in the third movie, because we do get so many Joker iterations that it's almost starting to be a little overwhelming. So I would like a little bit of breadth and to explore other villains. We haven't even had a Clayface yet.
I'm thinking
Fox
Clayface
sucked.
one. Yeah, I'm thinking Clayface for 1 to establish his detective skills. 2 for Deathstroke because it tests his combat skills. And then 3, the villain of all villains, Joker, to put everything he learned to the test. Everything he's learned to the test, dude. Oh, dude, I would love it. I would love it. I'm a sucker for detective stuff. I love cop movies. Make Batman one of, because let's be honest here. Batman is a crap detective in all the movies. He gets all his shit from the movie, from the news. Like, come on, man. Come on, detective. Let me see the magnifying glass. Let me see you analyze some footprints. Let me see something. Come on, man. That's just me.
No, you're right. There's not enough detective work in the Batman films. But Amanda, I want to go to you and get your thoughts on this. Too many Jokers? Should we have Joker in the Batman at all? And who would you like to cast as Joker?
I think like the rumor is strictly for the Batman. It has nothing to do with a trilogy, like at all. It's strictly because Matt Reeves posted a picture of the characters that he wanted, and it was the Riddler, Catwoman, and Penguin, and then the Joker was there as well. So I think it's just strictly the rumor for this particular film. He said multiple times that it wasn't going to be a trilogy, so I don't think we're going to get a sequel. It's a standalone and a one-off. Obviously, depending on money, I get it. But if we're talking about this solo film, I really don't want the Joker in it. And I completely understand that he is the villain of all villains and there's no Batman without his Joker. But in this case, like, I would love to see Riddler flourish. I would love to see his relationship with Catwoman flourish. And Penguin's also one of my favorite characters. So I don't want a Joker in the Batman. If there's another Joker movie, another Batman film with a different actor, because I highly doubt it's going to be a trilogy, because that's what Matt Reeves keeps saying, then I can see it in the future. But right now, with even like the Ayer cut possibly being a thing, we're also going to, not that I give a fuck about Jared Leto's Joker, no offense, Chris. I'm just saying, like, not that I care, but I never really liked him. I didn't vibe with him. We are getting Jared Leto's Joker possibly in the near future. And the only reason why Joaquin Phoenix's Joker worked was because it was so far apart from Heath Ledger's as like a bigger part, because Jared Leto's Joker was supporting and was like rarely in the Suicide Squad. So it was more stretched out. And I don't think that putting another Joker after an Oscar winner is a bright move at the moment. So maybe in the future, yeah. I watched Gotham, and I don't know if you guys liked it or not, whatever. It was just something to put on. I love Carmine Falcone. I love Fish Mooney, and I think they're really underrated characters. And I would love to see them kind of come to the big screen if they do that.
Fish Mooney was created for the show.
Oh, was it?
That
was
such a good
but
character.
I love her. Sorry, I love her. So that just made me sad.
Jada Pinkett crushed
it. You just made me really sad, I thought. I don't know.
I liked her too, and then I researched it, and I was like, oh.
I'm sad now. Okay, well, I love Carmine Falcone. Big surprise.
Yeah.
For reasons, whatever. I would love to see that kind of side of it, and I'm excited we're getting the Penguin.
Well, Falcone's supposed to be in the Matt Reeves version.
Yeah, so great, even better. So that makes me happy. I don't really I'm not amped for the Batman, so I don't really care.
Well, now that you just told me that it's just a one-off, neither am I. I'm honestly, you just kind of made me not give a shit.
That's
kind of interested.
I don't give a shit at all. I'm sorry. Like Robert Pattinson for a one-off, like, dude.
No,
please,
I'm cool off those. I'm cool. Like, if you're gonna do one shots, or you know what I mean, one shot film.
You don't do Batman as a one shot. You just don't do it. Like,
there's
so much story potential. Like, why waste the talent?
That's what bothers me. I don't get it. And like, even for Robert Pattinson, like why would you take up the mantle, bro, if it's a one-off like that? You're not even gonna watch him grow.
It's not taking up the mantle if you're just being Batman or a superhero one film.
He
Yeah,
went to
not
he went
taking
to
up the
like
mantle.
he went to
You're
a
right.
cosplay
You're
shop,
right.
and he's like, I would like to buy that costume for $25 dues, and then he just took it. And he's like, I'm gonna wear this for 2.5 hours, and you guys are gonna praise me for it, and he walks away.
Yeah, I just think that at this point in the DCEU, doing one-offs is so fucking damaging to the continuity and the universe that you want to create.
It's confusion too to regular people.
And like how are you having a one-off Batman with a young Batman and a young Bruce Wayne, and you want a Justice League sequel? Like, what are you doing? So I don't understand. Like, the Justice League is kind of dismantled right now because
They need to restart.
you recast the Batman that established the Justice League. So like that doesn't make any sense to me as to why you would want to ruin that. You know, like that's what bothered me the most. And that's why I have so much resentment for Matt Reeves' Batman. It's just the fact
they want to do another Batman. Why don't just put Ben in the
exactly my point. Like, I just don't
because
understand
Ben and Matt
it.
were talking about doing the movie to begin with.
Yeah, that's what's so frustrating. And then fucking Joss Whedon came in and ruined everything. And it's frustrating because we had a bomb-ass script that was going to lead to a freaking Bat Family movie because that's what Ben wanted. And
Matt Reeves just needs to come out and say, this is what my film is. But he's not doing that. And it's just like, it's irritating me. Like, what do you do? I kind of feel like Matt Reeves is like, yay, I'm doing a Batman movie. I don't fucking care if anybody else gives a shit. I'm doing Batman.
Yeah, like
he doesn't give two turtle poops about continuity, it not making any sense.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit. It's just like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't either. If someone said, hey, Chris, you're doing Green Lantern. All right. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? And they said I can do whatever I want. They gave me carte blanche to do what I want. You think, I don't know if I would do that personally, but I mean, I just don't. No, these filmmakers should come out and say it's a one-off. Come watch the Long Halloween version, the live-action version.
Because apparently they have said multiple times that they wanted Zoe Kravitz in the Gotham City Sirens with like bringing on Poison Ivy and then Harley, but they weren't in the same universe, so we would never get Zoe. Like, that's all I've been seeing on my timeline, that there's no involvement and that it's a standalone. So it's just, what's the fucking point, man? Like, you're ruining the universe by doing these one-offs. Like, even everyone's like, oh, but why Queen's Joker? It's like, no, that's also a one-off. Like, just stop talking about it, but also stop making these one-offs. Like, it doesn't make sense. If you want to do
you can make one-offs if you're not going to do any of the Justice League stuff.
Yeah, I was just about
to say Wonder Woman is done, if Aquaman is done, reboot the Flash, that's fine. But this is confusing as hell.
Yeah.
I think they need to restart the slate fresh, because right now what they're trying to do, what it seems like, is balance two different universes, which is going to come off very sloppy. Because first off, there's already the confusion with Ben Affleck, because the dude like crashed and crumbled like with his alcoholism after BBS because of the amount of crap that movie got, and he was a big Batman fan. And then after Justice League, he got crapped on even more.
He's always had a drinking problem.
He's always had a drinking problem.
I know, but I'm like, it reignited it, though. It reignited it.
Well, it wasn't BBS, though. It was his process filming Justice League that.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like the memes and everyone kind of thought that he was like crashing, but like that's not
depressed.
what it was. He got like sad after Live by Night. It wasn't even BBS because when
Live by Night was so bad, Ben.
When he did the Live by Night tour, I read the book and I was really disappointed because Warner Brothers fucked over that movie royally. They moved up the post-production by 6 months. So that movie was supposed to come out in like July, and it came out like in not July, or June or something, and it came out in January. So they fucked up his post. So even on that entire press tour, when he was on it, everyone kept talking about the Batman script that he had, that he was directing like they kept asking about it. And then when the shit show of Justice League happened, he's like, this wasn't the Batman that I intended. And shooting with Joss was like the worst experience of his life, apparently. And then that's what kind of made him crash. So like, the whole situation with Ben is the fact that like he had to take a step back because when he signed on for Batman, it was the fact that this was Zack Snyder's version of Batman, and then he inspired him to write the script and to create his own Batman. I think that's really amazing that he inspired
using that character that Zack and him created, this type of Batman.
Exactly. So I think all of that together just came to like a really bad time and is like a really bad peak. But he suffered throughout his entire career. So like this alcoholism kept going like up and down constantly. So it was just the fact that Warner Brothers like fucked up like right after BVS. There was like a chain of events that happened. And then like him not being able to do his Batman was something that really just, I guess, pissed him off. Because he welcomed Matt Reeves to the Batcave. Like that tweet haunts me. And I know this sounds so stupid, but it haunts me because he welcomed him to the Batcave. And then he said he wasn't going to direct. And then Matt Reeves was going to direct. Then he still was going to use a script. He was going to star in it. And then slowly, like, there was no information coming from that Batman script. And then all of a sudden on Jimmy Kimmel, he's like, yeah, I'm not Batman anymore. And it's like, well, fuck. Like, they royally screwed him up. And that's what pissed me off so much. So I kind of disagree with the fact that, like, they should dismantle everything. Like, I don't think they should start from scratch at this point because they've had so much success. And the casting of these characters, the casting of, like, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Ezra Miller's like iffy for me. I don't really like him, but dude, Cyborg, like I do not want anyone touching the cast of the Justice League film because they were phenomenal. So I just think that they need to rework how to bring in these heroes, but you can't have the Justice League without Batman. That's the only flaw. So either Ben has to like renegotiate if he wants to come back, or they move it to like an HBO Max series, which I've said before to you guys. So I don't know. I think they're in a sticky situation, but this one-off with Batman is completely unnecessary. And I'm just not hyped, man. I can't. I am so sorry. I rambled on. Sorry, go ahead.
So good. No, you're good. You're good. No, I was going to say, like, that also brings up a very big concern I have. So you said Riddler, Catwoman, Penguin, now Joker. We've seen this song and dance 1,000 times. Like, what are you doing? Like, so first off, this is a one-off movie, and you're gonna introduce these not small characters, key players in the Batman lore. And what's your goal with this? Are they all gonna like do a team up like Batman and Robin? Is it like going to be like Catwoman is just like his side girl? He's like, yo, what's up? Like, and then they're gonna do whatever. Like, I want to ask you guys: do you think that he's trying to shoehorn too much in because he wants to do a one-off, or do you think he secretly is trying to do a trilogy, but he's trying to surprise the fans? Because I don't think he's surprising us with anything. I think if anything, he's pissing us off because the second you said this is a one-off, instantaneously I lost interest. Because you can't see a character grow. I mean, you can, but with a character like Batman, you want to see him grow over over film after film after film. This isn't just your one-off kind of movie. It's Batman. So I want to hear you guys. Do you think this is him cramming too much in?
I don't necessarily think he's cramming too much in. I think those are the villains that he chose. We've also seen it with like Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze. I think they were in the same movie. Chris?
Yeah. It was awful. It was awful. I just watched it the other day. Oh,
yeah.
So, I'm just saying,
Bane
like,
and Poison Ivy, and
they brought together like in multiple films. It was always like either 2 or 3, or like they've done that before. So I think it's just he wanted to bring that back. Whereas like Christopher Nolan's trilogy, they only had like 1 or 2. Because the Scarecrow was in Begins, Heath Ledger did Joker in Dark Knight, and then it was Catwoman and Bane in the third one. So it was very minimalist. Like, this is
technically she was never Catwoman.
Sorry?
Technically, I mean, she's not really Catwoman.
Yeah, true.
If you want to get technical. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Shoehorning too much in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, did it work for Nolan where it was just one villain at a time? I think it's more fun if you have multiple villains in the film. I don't think it's shoehorning. I just think that he's going back to like what they did before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I don't know.
You just gotta execute it right, because the biggest problem with Batman and Robin, not all just it's a crap movie in general. Like, they rushed Bane. Like they made Bane's origin one sentence in one frame. Congratulations. And then Poison Ivy's background was just, again, one shot, one frame. And then Mr. Freeze, we learned his origin, like, and his whole build-up. Like, the last 20 minutes of the movie, he's like, my life, and the diamonds of this. It was a crap movie. You could tell they were shoehorning too much in. So I'm afraid that with the introduction of a character like Batman, I know we're not doing an origin movie because for God's sakes, we don't need to see his parents get shot for the 15th time. I've seen Uncle Ben get shot less than that. I mean, let's relax. We don't need to see that, but I'm just saying we need to establish this world. We need to establish this character. Who is he? What's different from this Batman to the other Batman? And then we're gonna have all these other characters. Like, are they key players? Are they just gonna be cameos? Because if you try to make them like big villains that team up, if it's just too to me in a 2.5 hour movie, it feels like it's just gonna be more like let's play catch up than anything.
But it's also characters that we all know. So you're necessarily like going into this like, I know these characters, so you don't really necessarily need like an entire backstory for them with their motivations because we know who they are. So like I know, like I guess for the main audience, like you have to do like a little bit, but I don't necessarily think you have to do like an entire thing of like set it up that way in one film. Because we've seen. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I was cutting you off. You go.
No, I'm just saying, like we've seen these villains, so it's kind of just like what they're gonna do differently. I'd rather them like take the character and like run with it than like sit there and be like, what makes them tick? It's like, no, dude, like just run. Like, let me see you strut. I want to see, because you have 2.5 hours to show me why they cast you in this role. Like, that's the point it's gotten to. Like, I don't even care about the story in this case. Is the fact that like, why did we choose to do another Batman when we had a perfectly good one and you ruined it? Two, why? And it's true. Like, that's the only reason why.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of giving us a Matt Reeves other than
you have to course correct?
Like, if it's a course correct, why is it a one-off film? Matt Reeves is arrogant. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, I don't know what's going on. Warner Brothers, and it's chaotic. It's confusing. It doesn't make any sense. They're not going to tell us anything. So they're going to make us just eat this shit.
I refuse this is going to be a one-off. I just refuse.
Matt Reeves isn't going to just do a one-off. But they're not going to greenlight anything unless this film is a hit.
Yeah, like this movie's going to make money. First off, it's Batman. It's almost guaranteed money, and
not necessarily Batman.
I'm just saying that's why I said it's almost guaranteed. Like, it's got to be like bad for it to not work and to not make money. But the studio, if they get a hit on their hands, they're going to want more. If Robert Pattinson, because no one signs a contract for one-offs. That's not how Hollywood works. They're going to be like, okay, we're pretty sure this is going to be a one-off, but we'll sign you for 2, maybe 3, just to play it safe, and we'll give you X amount of money. Pattinson as Batman, they're not signing him on for 1 movie. They're signing him on for 3, 4 movies. So I refuse to think that the studio is going to let Matt Reeves just say this is a one-off. Unless Batman gets shot in the head at the end of the movie, there's going to be a sequel with Matt Reeves or not. It's just that simple. Because again, there's too much you can do. And again, this is a course correct. I feel like this is a course correct. Matt Reeves is saying, "Oh yeah, this is my Batman, so this is going to be a one-off." But if Batman doesn't die, it's not a one-off. They're just going to give it to another director, type up a script. Here you go. Here's Robert Pattinson's Batman 2, and boom. And what Amanda was saying earlier, just like kind of give them the characters and just go forward with it. I feel like villains have evolved from that. Like, I want to see what makes them tick. Not like every single time. Like, sometimes there's just good popcorn villains, but I don't see them doing that with Batman again. Not again. I want to see this like psychological things behind the villains of Batman, because that's usually what his villains are. They're usually batshit crazy. Like Riddler, he's a guy who's got a hard on for riddles. Like I want to see what makes him like that. Poison Ivy. I want to see more than a couple vials and a plane and her falling. Oh, now I'm one with the earth and the earth is with me. I want to see more than that, and that's what makes it more interesting. Because with Batman being the detective side, I want to see him like really trying to chase. And why chase down? Well, it's not gonna be, to me, it's not gonna be that interesting chasing down a one-note villain that's just crazy and just blowing crap up because villain. I don't know. That's how I see it.
No, I feel you, Gumps. I'm gonna actually pivot to Leo because he's been really freaking quiet, and I know that he loves Matt Reeves and he's excited for this Batman. So, Leo, how's it going, my dude?
Firstly, I'm not gonna say that I absolutely love Matt Reeves.
He's I'm not
She was like,
stalking
he
him on
loves
social
Matt
media.
Reeves, and I was like, well, I like the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes, and I did like Cloverfield. But I'm not going to sit up and say that I absolutely love Matt Reeves. What I do love is Detective Comics number 439, Night of the Stalker, which is another one shot of Batman, probably one of my favorite ones, where he barely has a line of dialogue and he's actually just taking out all these men who killed this kid's parents. I'm very, very interested in seeing one-shot films. I think that both Marvel and DC have a heavy one-shot library that can definitely be cinematically done. Would I dump the DCEU for the one-shots? Absolutely. I think that DC should have went that route at the beginning. That's what I've said all along, is that, look, I'm sorry, I do like Wonder Woman, I do like Shazam, but if I had to choose, I would have went with the one-shots.
You're annoying.
If I wanted...
No, I agree with Leo. If that's how they would have started, that could have been really cool and really different.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let me get my thoughts out real quick.
I'm sorry.
Let me finish my thoughts because I've been listening to y'all. Let me finish my thoughts.
Sorry.
I would like a Joker, but it would have to be a very, very interesting twist. Like very interesting, one that we haven't seen before. And now hear me out. I know you guys aren't going to like this. I already know I'm going to get flack for this. But if Joker was played by Robert Pattinson, and it was this kind of dynamic of battling your own psyche, and the Joker was like this kind of ominous character that always appeared to Batman in his most doubtful moments and his most dire and worst times throughout the movie, he would look into his reflection and see the Joker. I would love for something like that to happen. And maybe not even have the Joker be the main villain of the film. You can have your Penguin, you can have your Catwoman, you can have your other rogues gallery villains, but to have the Joker pop up or his laugh kind of cycle through the movie as Batman is at his worst of the worst, I think would be such a message to the dynamic that Batman and Joker have, because they are the polar opposites of each other and neither of them would exist without one another. So I would love to see something unique like that, to where it's this mental play and the Joker is actually the very worst version of Batman. And that's what those are the nightmares he has at night. That's the thing he doesn't ever want to be. The Joker is this character that is the worst version of Batman. And I think if they played it up like that, I would absolutely love it. Do I trust them to make a move like that? No, but I mean, like, what's that?
They're not that smart, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Like, I would love just like a mental play.
That's a great take. Yeah.
I thought y'all would all hate that take, but I would love.
It's very creative.
I would love like a mental play between the two, because think about it. Batman, the Joker symbolizes for Batman the worst of the worst.
Yeah. It's what he dreads.
What if it was his own self-doubt that was his greatest villain? This is kind of, he didn't confirm it, but to me, this kind of feels year one Batman-ish, the beginning of Batman. Yeah. That's kind of how it feels to me based off of the set photos I've seen, and kind of like it looks like a prototype suit. So I'm kind of feeling this like year one or early era Batman. And I would love for self-doubt to take the form of the Joker and be the main antagonist of the movie. And it chalks down to these scenes of Batman kind of looking in the mirror and then looking behind him and seeing the Joker, and it's him. And it's like, I think that would be such a profound change and such a great mental play between that character.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really smart, very intelligent to think of that. It hasn't been done before. I just don't think that production studios, Warner
Nah.
Brothers, is not going to be that ballsy because they need to feed the Marvel audience as well
Yep.
with the cape shit.
Sadly.
So,
One other thing I would be
Yeah.
down for, and this is gonna be a weird one. Prepare yourself. If Christian Bale was the Joker, I would love to see
He's
a
already the
former.
Joker in real life, though.
Well, you know what I mean in this movie. But I would love to see a former Batman play the Joker and see
Yeah, I like that idea.
that psychotic change, that difference in acting. I would love to see this range in Christian Bale and to see him flip from, you know, being our Batman and our Bruce to being the Joker. I think that would be another cool choice. But again, Manda, you make a great point. They're not going to make creative choices like this. This
No,
comes from
they're
the brain of
not.
Leo.
Big facts, man. No, I agree with everything you said, man. It's just the fact that like the movie going audience is like really, really dumb now. They're really stupid. And I've said it before, and that's thanks to Disney. After watching Artemis Fowl today, like I believe it even more that they just dumb down their shit, and it's the most annoying thing ever. So cape shit has kind of like ruined the movie going experience for the general public, that they can't retain any other information from a drama film or a psychological thriller or whatever else that you want to slap in there that's not cape shit. So that's the big issue here. And that's why ideas like yours not even going to come across on paper in the business aspect. It won't happen. So we're going to get the same as like always, kind of.
Yeah, kind of same old. But I will say that I do really hope with this Batman we do get some detective stuff.
Yeah.
That's one thing in the Batman mythos. I would say besides the animated universe that we never get. We don't get to really see Bruce Wayne investigating on stuff. We get to see a little bit of it in BVS, but we don't get to see like full-on investigations. We don't get to see Batman be the world's greatest detective. Like we've only seen Ninja Batman, and I would love to see like him solving cases and being a detective. And I mean, I would love if the movie even started on like a super simple case and it was kind of like his first kind of test as Batman, but it was something as simple as trying to solve like a simple murder mystery or something. I just think that like we don't get enough detective comics in the Batman movies.
Yeah.
Like Batman is a detective, and that's kind of where I think Matt Reeves is going. I hope he does lean towards that way and give us a Batman that's a little bit different, because I think it'll help, because I do agree with you guys' sentiments in that this is a little bit of overkill, and that it's like, okay, you have a universe and you have standalones. It's starting to be a little bit overwhelming. It's like pick one or the other. But I am still incredibly interested in this movie. I want to see what's different. I want to see what's different from Ben and Christian and every other Batman we've had. I want to see the difference. I want to see what Matt Reeves can bring to the table. I want to see a different Batman movie. I want to see a Batman movie that I have not seen before. That is what I'm hoping for. I know that that's a pretty high expectation and that that's probably not going to happen, but I just want to see more detective stories. I do want to see him put to the test physically. So I would love to see a Deathstroke. I would love to see some more villains from his rogue gallery that we do not get to see that much. So I would like to see a more unique take on the Batman mythos, and that's what I'm hoping out of this movie. And that's why I'm still pretty pumped, because while we do have the Justice League Batman, while we do still, I mean, who knows what's going on with Ben Affleck? I would agree with you, man. I would love to have him have a series on HBO Max. I would love to dive more into that version of Batman and see some more of him. But what I'm hoping for from Matt Reeves is just a very unique experience, one that we've never really had cinematically with Batman before. And I think that's why I'm really still looking forward to it, because even though they're still continuing with the DCEU, they're still moving forward with this project. And something to me feels a little bit confident about this project. And I'm just really hoping that they can make it worthwhile and make it unique and make it fresh. Like I want to walk out of that Batman being like, damn, that's a Batman I've never seen before. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's why I'm so hopeful in this movie, because I think they are going to pivot a little bit differently, as we saw with the Joker. Now, I'm hoping that I don't want it to be a movie like the Joker. I'm not saying that. I do want it to be unique, though, and that it's different, if that makes sense. I just want a unique take for Batman. If this is going to be a one shot, even if they're going to do other one shots, whatever, I do want this Batman to be just unique and fresh and just this feeling that I've never felt before. So hopefully they can pull that off here. I'm hoping they try some really creative moves. I'm hoping we see some people from the Rogues Gallery that we haven't seen before. And I'm kind of hopeful. I'm a little bit hopeful for this Batman, because I just think that it's going to be something that we haven't seen before. And I think that's why Matt Reeves is so under wraps about it, about the plot details and things like that, because I think it is something unique in this that we've never seen cinematically from the Batman mythos. And I'm excited. I know you guys aren't really as psyched about it because there's no sequels planned, but I'm hyped up. For me, I've always been a comics guy. I mean, I love one shots, so I'm okay with a one shot movie. I would even be okay with a one shot Spider-Man movie where he ditches the suit and it's just about him realizing that the world needs Spider-Man and so does he. But that's a whole other story for another day. I'm excited. I know that you guys really aren't, but I'm hyped up. I hope that this can be a good movie. But I will say I am more excited for Black Adam than I am the Batman. That's definitely a priority for me. But
me too.
I'm definitely hoping that the Batman is good.
Same here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I shut the room down with that idea.
No, that was a pretty good one, man.
Now I'm thinking, man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, I would bring in like somebody like Will Dafoe. I mean, he's a little older, but I do love the range of acting he has, and I would love to see just like a super dark, older Joker that's more experienced with like a newer, fresher Batman. I think that could be a dynamic that's one we don't really see often and haven't seen cinematically at all. So I would love to see like an older, more experienced, I own Gotham type of Joker, and see Batman as like this kind of ray of shining light, if you will, that ends the Joker's tyranny. I would be down to see that. I know I'm going to get flack for this one. Wouldn't mind seeing Gyllenhaal just because of Nightcrawler. But
good
Christian Bale, I would like to see that just for uniqueness, I guess. Like I would love to see a Batman, somebody who played Batman, come and play the Joker. I think that would be a fun, unique twist. Movie Files is back. We're just talking about Joker, our last topic here, and just the fact that he might be involved in the Matt Reeves Batman movie. And I was just saying that I would love to have a scenario where Joker is actually Robert Pattinson as well, and that it's this whole mental play of the Joker is actually a personification of Batman's worst fears, worst nightmares, and worst version of himself, all put into one. And I know that that's reaching far, but man, I think that will be something that could change the scope of the characters entirely in the cinematic universe.
Agreed. And I think having Robert Pattinson as Joker, to me, is again a little too on the nose. But with a Christian Bale, it's not so much on the nose because we all know in the back of our heads that he was Batman once. So I think that's less tongue in cheek and just like if like, oh yeah, okay, I see what they're doing here. And you could still play up on the mental play where like he's like dreading like what the Joker's doing, and he's having that self-doubt. And when he looks in a mirror, like in the bathroom, and he sees Joker makeup, I think you could do something like that and still play on that self-doubt, because we didn't really get to see that much where he's like, he really got under Batman's skin, and I want to see something like that. So I think Christian Bale would be a great Joker because we already know how crazy he is on set. I don't know if many people would want to work with him because of it, but I mean, still, he's a great actor and he knows how to put on a real good performance, and I think he would be a solid Joker.
Boy, Movie Files, Mr. Elliott says that we're talking Batman. Give me Lakeith Stanfield as Joker, or maybe even Shia LaBeouf.
Yes, to Shia. Yo, yes, to Shia. Yes, to Shia.
Yes. Oh my God, Shia LaBeouf as Joker.
Good. Oh man.
I would love that because he has
boy.
definitely shown his range. And after seeing Honey Boy, damn, he can play a villain. I hated him in that movie. There was not really one scene where I enjoy his character at all. So he has proven to me that he can be a very despisable, despicable character. I would love to see him take on the Joker or another villain even in the DCEU.
I heard that, well, before when he was younger, I guess, they wanted him as Jason Todd, but he can't do it now. But still.
Yeah, too late. That would have been cool, young Shia as Jason, because he had that innocent look, and it would have kind of lent to hardening him up throughout the story and then him dying. Yeah. So I think that would have been a cool take. But yeah, unfortunately, that opportunity has passed. But that doesn't mean he can't be like a Nightwing or Red Hood. Ooh, I wouldn't mind him playing a Red Hood. Somebody who kind of, blurs lines between good and evil. I'm good, but I also kill. I would love to see him play that dynamic because I think he could because of his range. But man, a Joker, wow, that's something to think about, man. Movie Files, that was a hell of a toss out. I would love Lakeith Stanfield as a Joker as well. I think he's got this kind of awkward disposition that could kind of give him this misunderstood disposition, if you will, and then kind of lead into a Joker. I think that could be pretty cool. But I do like the sound of a Shia LaBeouf Joker, or at least a Shia LaBeouf anti-hero of some kind, because I think he knows how to play somebody who is absolutely despicable. But guys, we have run to 225, man. Like, woo, we talked it up, y'all. Gump, thank you so much for coming by, my man. Where can we find you, my friend?
You guys can find me on Twitter, Gumps_videos, and you can find me on YouTube at Gumps Videos. And thank you for having me, dude. It was a blast, and you had 2.5 hours of just nerding out. I loved it, and I had a blast. Thank you so much for this memory and this awesome time, dude.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Amanda, where can we find you?
Well, it says right there. It says AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, also on Instagram. And you guys can find me and my reviews on my website, candidxcinema.com.
And Chris, where can we find you, my friend?
Usually in my office working.
Fair.
You can find me on Twitter at Chris_Hicks1138.
Yay.
And check out my film that I'm working on called What Goes Around. It's on Facebook and Twitter. Leo and Manda are part of the production team. Really cool motion comic series dealing with death and karma and tackling the end of the world. So, yeah.
Sounds bomb.
Boss. And then there was just a couple more comments real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Sterling K. Brown as Harvey Dent. Hell yes. Kelvin Harrison Jr. as Nightwing. Wow.
Yes.
You're winning my heart right now, Elliot. Colby Mack coming in a little bit late, my friend, but thanks for tuning in, man.
Colby.
Thank you guys all for coming out, and we will see you all next week, y'all. Good night.
Night.
Later.